Hello everybody and welcome to the first round of the 2022 GP4 World ChampCar Offline Championship. We are here at the GP layout of Indianapolis for the first race of 2022. After a successful first ever season for World ChampCar, who knows, maybe the second season will hopefully be just as exciting as the first one. I'm JW97 and I'm joined today by the host himself, Yuri Marta.
Bye bye.
Hi indeed, and as you can see, the weather, once it comes up on your screen, of course, although I think I'm a bit behind. Yes,
it's already.
Yeah, I am a bit behind. It was my fault there. But as you can see, it is bright and sunny, and once again, Yuri has still not fixed these graphic issues, despite saying he would. He hasn't got round to doing it, so... Yeah, we've got a dry weather for this one-shot qualifying format, and for anybody wondering, of course, the order for one-shot qualifying, because it's a new season, will be based on the constructors' order here, the team's championship order from last season, but in reverse. So we'll see the Vipers go out on track first, and then we'll see the Penskes go out on track last. So, anyway, it's time to get underway with the one-shot qualifying system. There are a load of new drivers and some new teams as well. So, some new drivers on the grid, and some changes in terms of engine manufacturers as well. So whilst we wait for Yuri Kratichville to go out onto the racetrack, let's go through the drivers and teams for 2022, and also the calendar as well, because it is slightly shortened from last season. Starting off with the defending champions Team Penske, a new driver lineup for them, given that Bruno de Bouwers has retired from the series, and the fact that Bartjes Class has moved back to the top class. Their new driver lineup consists of former top class driver Julius Anderson, who moves over to World Champ Car after missing out on a top class seat, and he is joined by Zachary Fitzwater, who moves over from Chip Ganassi Racing. Both of them will be hoping to have a very good season with Penske in 2023. Next up is Andretti Autosport. Gabriel Gomez remains with the team for another season, but he has a new teammate as a result of Igor Peter not signing up in time for the 2022 season, and that being five-time top class champion Florian Volker. He moves over from McLaren, of course, and he's going to be Gabriel Gomez's teammate at Andretti Autosport. Moving on to Pyramid Racing. They're still powered by BMW, but they're no longer the main BMW team. Why? We'll get onto that in a bit. But Pyramid Racing have also got a new lineup. They consist of a returning Thomas Anderson, who returns to the GP4 OC fraternity for the first time since 2019, and he is joined by Adam Wolf, who moves over from DTM. Moving over to Scuderia Ferrari, a new lineup for them. They have Bush Daniel, who moves over from Formula 2, and he is joined by Francesca La Rosa, who moves over from Manor, making a step up from the backmarker Manor team. Moving over to Chip Ganassi Racing, a change of engine from them. They switch from Honda to Mercedes power for 2022, and they have a new lineup consisting of Luca Farina, who moves over from Formula 2, and Jared Fosbury, who moves over from DTM. Moving over to Peugeot Sport, Alex-Eric Lucien remains with the team for another season, but he's got a new teammate in the form of Simon Mutka, who moves over from Carlin. Moving over to the BMW Arrow McLaren SP team. McLaren are the new main BMW team in World Champ Car as a result of them forming a partnership with McLaren in the top class. They've also got a new lineup consisting of Enis Parachki, who moves over from Formula E, and he's got a rookie teammate in the form of Marat Patacek, who is hoping to do well in his rookie season. Moving over to the Carling team, Frederick Soper remains with the team for another season, but he's got a new teammate in the form of Lorenzo Tomaselli, who returns to the OC fraternity for the first time since 2020, and he'll be able to do well here in World Champ Car. Moving over to Maya Shank Racing, a tricky season for them, and they'll be hoping to have a better season in 2022. Their new lineup consists of Yuri Gabriel and Rosetta Martinez, who moves over to DTM. Yuri Gabriel, of course, moving over from Viper Racing. As meanwhile, Yuri Kratichville is going to cross the line. What is the benchmarker time going to be? It is a 1 minute 13.664 in the Viper. Moving over to Manor Racing, they have a new lineup consisting of two rookies. In fact, those two rookies being Dorian Maluski, the Polish driver Dorian Maluski, and Frenchman Julien Stopy. So they are the two drivers for Manor. Julien Stopy, the real-life friend of Santino Andreoli. So he'll be hoping to do well in his rookie season, and hopefully get to where Santino Andreoli is at the moment. Finally, Viper Viper Racing. We've just seen one Viper out on the track, that being Yuri Kratichville. He is a rookie, and so is his teammate who we're looking on screen, that being Brit Luke Mason. So both the backmarker teams from last season, whether they'll be backmarker teams this season, we'll have to wait and see, have all got rookies in their lineup. So that is the driver lineup for 2022, as Luke Mason is about to start his lap, looking to try and beat his teammate Yuri Kratichville, as Dorian Maluski in the Manor will be the next to go out onto the racetrack. In terms of the calendar, it's a 10-race calendar. There is no pre-season test, just like with Formula E, due to timing restrictions, so it's just racing really on the calendar. So the first race, which we are here this week, is the GP layout of Indianapolis, just as it was last season, before we move over to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas for round 2 of the championship. Then off to Road America for round 3 of the championship, and that will be the final US race of the season. Then round 4, a new venue for World ChampCar in 2022, that being the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Interlagos, Sao Paulo. Obviously familiar to the GP4 fraternity, but this season will be making its World ChampCar debut, hosting round 4 of the championship, the first World ChampCar race to be held in Brazil. Round 5 will take place at Silverstone before heading off to Spa-Francorchamps for round 6. Round 7 will be at Monza before we then head off to round 8 of the championship, and that will be the first of the 3 Asian races, that being at Yeongnam in South Korea. That will be round 8. Round 9 is Fuji Speedway in Japan, and then the final race of the season, round 10, just like last season, the finale once again taking place at Suzuka, as Luke Mason goes 9 tenths quicker than his teammate Yuri Kratichville, nearly a second in fact, to go to the top on a 1 minute 12.706. So that is the calendar, and we've already got 2 lap times on the board, Yuri, and surprisingly, Luke Mason nearly a second quicker than his teammate.
Yeah, either his teammate had a really poor lap or he had a really good one. I think after we see the manners, we know for sure which way it is.
Yep, it is, and as I think my stream is deciding to play up on my end on YouTube, typical YouTube on my end. But anyway, Dorian Maluski is now just coming around the banking now then to start his lap, another rookie in the series. Dorian Maluski is about to start his first flying, his flying lap here in qualifying, as the next car on track will be his teammate Jalum Stope, and I'm pretty sure Santino, I probably butchered his first name there, so I'm pretty sure that Santino Andreoli, who I know is a good friend of his, will probably have to correct me if he's in the chat. But anyway, Dorian Maluski is about to start his flying lap now then. Let's see what his first sector is going to look like compared to Luke Mason now then, and he's 1 tenth down in the first sector, but definitely quicker than Kratichville, because I do recall that he was actually Mason was actually 2 tenths up on Kratichville in the first sector there. As now Maluski now they're making his way towards the sequence of twiddly bits now then, through into the left-hander he goes, and now into the sequence of hairpins, through the first one, which is a right-hander, then the second one, which is the second hairpin on that sequence of corners, up towards the end of sector 2 now then, and he finds himself 7 tenths down in the middle sector. It could actually be quite tight with Kratichville. It looks like he lost time in the middle sector.
Yeah, but sector 3 is only up straight basically. Well, this corner, but everybody's taking it flat.
So Maluski now then, across the line he goes in his first qualifying session, and he goes into second place. Found some time in the last sector to get himself just under 7 tenths behind Luke Mason, and splits the 2 Vipers as a result. Here comes Jalum Stope now then in the Manor, and I probably pronounced his first name wrong there, so I do apologise. But another rookie in the series, and he's looking to do well in his first appearance in the GP4 fraternity. Manor going for similar colours for this season, rather than what we saw with Francesco La Rosa last season when he had the blue and white livery. So Stope now then starting his lap, as the next car on track will be Rosetta Martinez in the Maya Shank racing car. Stope now then making his way into the first corner, now through to turn 2.
I wish I could switch that next car thing to the other side of that screen, but I don't think it's possible.
Maybe something to look at in the future, perhaps. As Stope goes 400ths up on Mason in the first sector. I nearly called him Mazia there, the 2007 top class driver. It's obviously similar 3-letter prefix to obviously to when we had Nicholas Mazier in the series back in 2007, so I might get that a bit confused in the first few races, but it is Luke Mason coming at the top. Let's see if Stopey can still set a purple middle sector then. He was 45 thousandths up on Mason in the first sector, as he now makes his way through the sequence of hairpins now then. Let's see what his third sector is going to look like, and he's lost time and he's 2 tenths down in that middle sector, but let's see if he can try and gain it back in the last sector now then, as he makes his way through the final couple of corners on the racetrack, through the infamous turn 13 banking now then. We will go. Let's see how Jaloom Sturpey now then will do on his first qualifying session. Across the line, he will go, and he goes into second. Found some time in the last sector, and 33 thousandths off of Mason, and gets in front of Maluski by a considerable amount there, over 6 tenths, covering the two Manners there. And well, there is a big gap. When you compare it to the Vipers, it's not that big. As we now look at Rosetta Martinez now then, who's about to start his first flying lap in World Champ Car. Obviously moves over from DTM after a tricky 2021 season and looking to do well here in World Champ Car. And I think it's as he now starts his lap now, and it's the next car on track, the man who got a lifeline in the series, Yuri Gabriel. His teammate will be coming out next of all, and we don't really need to talk about why he got a lifeline in that, so we'll move on from that. As Martinez now then goes around turn 3, and now through turn 4 he will go, as he'll be coming up towards the end of the first sector. Now let's see what the Meyershank is able to do in the first sector, and he's 800ths down in that first sector. So I don't know if the Meyershank has gone backwards, or it seems to be suffering from similar pace to what we saw last season. And obviously the key ones to look out for in terms of pace are going to be, of course, the McLaren and the Chip Ganassi, of course, because of course they've got different engines for 2022. McLaren now being the main BMW team, and Chip Ganassi now having Mercedes. So that'll be a little bit of a lock-up there.
Yeah,
I think
seemed
it
like
was
a mistake there.
It looked like a lock-up there. I was wondering there for a minute. Let's see what that's done to the middle sector. 6 tenths down. So I'd be inclined to say that he may have made they did lock up going through into the hairpins there. As the Filipino now then makes his way towards the final corner. Let's see what Martinez is able to do. Round the turn 13 banking will go Martinez. And now coming down the pit straight across the line goes the 2018 DTM champion, and he goes third. So he ends up behind both Stope and Mason, 2 rookies in the GP4 OC fraternity. Here comes Yuri Gabriel now then in the second Meyershank racing car, and as mentioned, it's probably best not to mention why on earth he got a lifeline in this series, because initially he was out of the let's just not
let's
mention
just say
that.
the reasons were pretty ass.
Yeah, let's move on from that. As Yuri Gabriel now then, who got a lifeline in this series after initially being booted out, is now coming around the banking now then, looking to do hopefully a better season after what was a disastrous 2021 season where he retired for the majority of the races. As Lorenzo Tomaselli, a returning driver to the OC, will be next out on the racetrack, as Yuri Gabriel now then makes his way through into the first few corners on the racetrack now then. Now coming around towards turn 4 now then, we will go. As hello Julius Anderson, who's just joined us in the stream chat. Gabriel, let's see what his first sector is like compared to Mason. 41 thousandths up in that first sector. Roughly Mason was around 45 thousandths up on I think it was Cratchitchville in the first sector, or was it no, it was Stopey was up 45 thousandths up on Mason in the first sector. But as we've seen, usually the middle sector is where you can lose most of your time, or maybe even gain, depending on how well your car is set up, of course. As Gabriel makes his way through into the hairpins now then, and let's see what the Brazilian's time is going to look like in the middle sector now then. And he's 700s down in the middle sector, but it is still recoverable. We have seen some drivers gain a lot of time in this last sector, so let's see if that's going to be the case for Yuri Gabriel in the Honda-powered Meyershank racing car. Gabriel now then through into the turn 13 banking he will go, as he now makes his way onto the pit straight, and Yuri Gabriel is now going to cross the line, and he goes fastest by a tenth of a second, a 1 minute 12.604. So Gabriel currently at the top of the timing sheets there, and nearly 7 tenths quicker than Martinez. So a bit of concern there for Martinez, as here comes the man who has returned to the OC fraternity, Lorenzo Tomaselli. We didn't see him throughout 2021. He was last in 2020, but never officially stated he was retired. It seemed like he disappeared for a while, but he is now back and looking to make an impression here in World Champ Car.
Yeah, let's see what he can do with the carling. I fully expect well, I mean, he should be beating the Manners and Vipers, and probably the Meyersangs because they had a poor showing in these first 6 laps.
Yep, indeed. So let's see what Tomaselli is able to do in the first sector. A slightly different livery for the Carlin this season, and 2 temps up in the first sector. So yeah, as expected, quite a bit faster in that first sector as Tomaselli for the first time in a while in an open wheel car and looking to see if he can get a good grid position in his first ever World Champ Car race. The Italian now then making his way towards these corners. He's got understeer there. He's almost went off there, a bit of understeer, but luckily he kept the speed going. So let's see how much time he's potentially lost or maybe even gained. We will see. And he's still 2 temps up, so he may have thrown away a little bit of time there, but not too much. But it could have been a lot better.
He lost 3 tenths at the least.
Well, it could have been a lot better than if he'd hooked up those hairpins there. As now Tomaselli comes out of the banking. He should go to the top of the timing sheets, but let's see. Tomaselli across the line, and he goes 2 tenths quicker. 1 minute 12.328 in the Carlin. As here comes his teammate, Frederick Soper. Another season for him in the Carlin, but this time with a different teammate as a result of Simon Mutka, last season's teammate, moving over to Peugeot Sport for this season. And, well, Soper... pretty enthusiastic about World Champ Car, it's fair to say, judging from his Twitter account last season, and looking like he wants to see if he can have a good season in 2022, hopefully better than what it was in 2021. It was a decent 2021 season for the Carlins, and they'll be looking to have an even better year in 2022. Soper starts his flying lap as the next car onto the racetrack will be, that is Marek Patacek in the McLaren. So the BMW McLaren will be coming out next, so that will be something to keep an eye on to see how much effect the BMW power is going to have in the back of the McLaren. Will it raise them up in the pecking order or not? We'll have to wait and see. And also, you could also say at the same time, we need to keep an eye on how Pyramid does now that they're not the main BMW team. Of course, they still have BMW engines, but you don't know how much of an effect that's going to have now that they're not the main BMW team. Soper was 1 tenth down on his teammate Tomaselli in the first sector, but he could be up on him in the second sector, providing he doesn't make the same mistake as Tomaselli, which he doesn't. So let's see if he is up on Tomaselli on this occasion, going up towards the middle sector. So through into the hairpins now then he will go, as Soper now then makes his way towards the middle sector now then, and he is 300s down on Tomaselli in the middle sector. So Tomaselli's still up on Soper despite that mistake Tomaselli made, but Soper did gain on him in the middle sector. So let's see if he can keep that up in the last sector now then. Soper around the banking he goes, as Frederick Soper now then is going to cross the line. The Polish driver, can he go to the top? And no, he can't. He goes second, 78 thousandths of his new teammate Lorenzo Tomaselli. As there is Patacek in the BMW Arrow McLaren SP, and it's going to be very interesting. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this car does with BMW power.
Yeah, and of course for McLaren it's a new era in the whole of the OC. And in ChampCar you could say their last season wasn't that competitive. Walker was quite good, but of course his teammate had that last season way more struggles, and overall for McLaren wasn't good, but let's see what they can do.
Yes, as they now, it's their first session with BMW power after spending last season with, I think it was Chevy power if I'm not mistaken. So Patacek through into the first couple of corners we go, and as they now make their way through into turn 3. Next up on track will be his teammate Enis Parachki, the 2017 GP2 champion, and so let's see how the rookie can do that in the first sector, and he's 800s down on Tomaselli in that first sector. So a bit interesting there for Marek, but we will see what his middle sector is going to be like, given that Tomaselli did muck it up in that middle sector, as we saw a little bit earlier on. So Patacek through into the section of corners, through into the left-hander, and now into the section of hairpins we go. Through into the first one, now into the second one, and let's see what his middle sector is going to look like compared to Lorenzo Tomaselli, as up towards the middle sector, and he's 2 tenths down in that middle sector. So Yeah, a bit interesting that Tomaselli didn't. It seems like maybe he didn't lose too much time in that middle sector. Who knows, really? But anyway, Marat Patacek now then on his first ever qualifying session in the GP4 OC Fraternity, rounds the turn 13 banking, and where is the Czech driver going to go? Across the line he goes, and he goes into third position. Found some time in the last sector, but he's still behind the two Carlins. So very, very interesting there. And I wonder if that's going to be the same place for this man right here, Enis Parachki, who's of course moved over from Formula E.
Yeah, of course, Paratsky is a much more experienced driver, but this is the first ChampCar qualifying for him as well. Piatec didn't have the best lap, I feel like, so let's see if Ennis can do any better.
We'll see as the Macedonian driver now then is coming up towards the banking now then, and let's see what he can do now then as the experienced Macedonian driver is about to start his first flying lap in World Champ Cars. The next car on track will be Simon Mutka for his new team, Peugeot Sport, of course, replacing Toby Holloway, who didn't sign up in time to compete for another season. As Enis Parachki through into turn 3 he goes in the BMW Arrow McLaren SP, as he now, let's see what his first sector is going to look like then compared to Tomaselli, and he's 700ths up in the first sector, so already better than Patacek's first sector, but as Yuri said, probably expected given that Ennis is more experienced in the OC than what Patacek is. Of course, this is obviously Marek's first week in the GP4 OC fraternity, his first ever race in the OC fraternity. So here comes Parachki now then through into the sequence of hairpins, so let's see what his middle sector is going to look like then compared to Lorenzo Tomaselli, who I believe he raced with back in... I don't know if he's ever raced with us. Look at that, of a massive gap in the middle sector, 5/10 up in that middle sector. So, yeah, I think he's going to obliterate his teammates' time here, Patacek that is, by a considerable margin, and it looks like he is going to go to the top, beating Tomaselli as a result. So let's see, Parachki now then, across the line he will go, and he breaks into the 1 minute 11. The 1 minute 11.647, nearly 7/10 quicker than Tomaselli. So, yeah, real encouraging there for McLaren with BMW power, but we need to wait and see how everybody else does, as Simon Mutka is out on track for his new team, Peugeot Sport.
For sure.
As now Mutka, obviously last season also had a very decent season in the Carlin, but feels like it was time for him to switch over to another team for 2022, and he's chosen Peugeot as the route to go by. And given that they finished 6th in the team's championship, whereas Carlin finished 8th in the team's championship last season, you could consider it as a bit of an upgrade for Mutka, but we'll wait and see if it works out for him this season, as Mutka now then making his way around the banking, as Mutka is about to start his first flying lap now then. Well, he's only his first flying lap of the season, I should say, as the next car on track will be his teammate Alex Eric Lucien, who it's fair to say had a very shaky rookie season last season in World Champ Car, and we're looking to see if he can do a better job in 2022. As Mutka now then through into turn number 4 he will go, and let's see what his first sector looks like, and he's 2/10 down on Parachki in that first sector as he goes through his section of corners, and then he'll approach the back straight very soon, which he is now at, as he now comes down towards this back straight. There has been some overtakes been done at this corner in the past, but it is usually quite difficult to overtake going through into this left-hander, as we saw a couple of times last season. The main overtaking opportunity is down into turn 1 around this track, mainly because of the run you get from turn 11 all the way up to turn 1, really, because of the banked corner of turn 13. 6/10 down in that middle sector, so it shows that Parachki had an insane middle sector on that occasion, as now Mutka making his way into the final couple of corners on the racetrack. Simon Mutka now then, around the banking he goes, and let's see what the Peugeot driver is able to deliver and where he's going to place himself. Simon Mutka across the line, and he goes into 6th, nearly a second off of Parachki, so not really a good lap. He's even behind Yuri Gabriel in the Maya Shank racing car, so yeah, not really a good lap there for Simon Mutka. As Alex Eric Lucien is coming out on track next, who for some reason has got Florian Volker's helmet on. So don't know what's happened there, but
I think I might have forgotten to change the helmets. I thought I named. No, wait, you cannot name them on this mod. So yeah, I have work to do with the helmets for next time.
Yeah, so it seems that the helmets are a bit mixed up for this race. So anyway, Alex-Eric Lucien now then, just making his way around the banking now then, as Lucien is about to start his first flying lap of the season. As next up on track will be Jared Fosbury in the newly liveried Chip Ganassi racing car, and the first Chip Ganassi racing car with Mercedes power, so it'd be interesting to see how they will cope, and whether or not they've lost some pace with the Mercedes engine, or whether they've gained some pace from last season, because last season for Chip Ganassi, it was a little bit of a tricky season for them. Lucien now then, 13 thousandths down on Perachki in the first sector, so he's up on his teammate, so it'd be very interesting to see how Lucien does compared to Perachki in the middle sector, because we know that Perachki's middle sector was insane, as now Lucien making his way through into these section of corners now then, as he'll now make his way through into the hairpin now then. And so now out towards the end of sector 2 now then, and he is 96 thousandths up on Perachki in that middle sector, so it seems that Lucien is on for a very good lap here in the Peugeot, but let's see. Through in towards the final couple of corners then goes the Frenchman, who is looking to have a better season than what he had in 2021. Lucien now then out of the banking, down the pit straight, and across the line will go Alex-Eric Lucien, and he goes second. He loses time in the last sector, and he's 59 thousandths off of Perachki there, but a good lap for Lucien there. So for Simon Muka, that was just a shocker, really.
Yeah, he didn't look very confident on his lap, and Lucien showed that Peugeot has more pace than that.
Yeah, indeed, as Jared Fosbury is next up on track in the Chip Ganassi, and you may have noticed the livery there. Both got Rich Energy as a sponsor, the controversial sponsor you may remember back in 2019.
I think it's only the Fosbury car that has Rich Energy.
I think Farina has it as well, judging from a photo I saw. So, but I might be wrong on that. So anyway, as Fosbury now then making his way around the final couple of corners on the racetrack now then, as Fosbury now then coming around the final turn, and now onto the pit straight he goes to start his first flying lap in World Champ Car, as the next up on track will be his teammate Luca Farina. Yeah, I was correct. It is both that have got it. So for Fosbury now then through into the first couple of corners now, then he will go in the Chip Ganassi with Mercedes power, of course. So it'll be fascinating to see how they cope with the Mercedes engine in the back, as Fosbury now then making his way towards the middle sector now then, and he's 1/10 down on Perachki in that first sector, but a lot quicker than the Manners and the Vipers, it's fair to say. So maybe they're able to get a little bit more at the Mercedes engine than what the Vipers and the Manners are able to do, but we need to wait and see what his middle sector looks like compared to Perachki and Lucien, as now around into the hairpins now then will go Jared Fosbury, through into the right and then into the left-hander now then he will go, and let's see what his middle sector is going to look like, and he is 3/10 down in that middle sector, so I think he's on for the third place, but he's going to be behind a Peugeot and a McLaren, so you could argue that Chip Ganassi have not really made any gains really compared to last season, as now Fosbury now then is going to cross the line, and he goes into third position. So P3 then for Jared Fosbury, as we now look at Luca Farina in the second good, Chip Ganassi, as obviously it's had inverted colours compared to the Jared Fosbury's car. So let's see what Farina can do on his lap, as Fosbury ended up being 5/10 off of Perachki in the end. And well, it'll be interesting to see where the Pyramids are compared to the McLaren as well, the other team that have got BMW power, as Farina now they're making his way towards the hairpins, as there goes Dog Commentator in the background, as now coming around the final three corners on the racetrack goes Luca Farina, moved over from Formula 2 after what had been a very tricky 2021 season for him, and looking to redeem himself here in the World Champ Car Series alongside Jared Fosbury at Chip Ganassi, as now Farina comes around the banking as he's going to start his lap very, very soon now then. And Farina is going to start his lap around about now then, as the next car on track will be Francesco La Rosa in the Scuderia Ferrari, an upgrade from the Manor, it's fair to say, for La Rosa, and he'll be looking to have a very, very good 2022 season with his new team, and you would imagine it's an upgrade from the Manor, but we'll wait and see, of course. Farina now then through into the next few turns on the racetrack, and let's look at his first sector, and he's 2/10 down on Prachki in that first sector, and well, given that Fosbury was 1/10 down in the first sector, it seems that Farina is going a bit slower than Fosbury in that first sector at the moment.
Yeah, it's not looking that strong at the moment.
Well, now we look at Farina now then. He's making his way through into the hairpin, through into the right, and then into the left-hander now then we will go. And let's see what his middle sector is going to look like. And he's 7/10 down in that middle sector. So I think he could be around about where... well, then he could be either around about where... Soper and Patacek might be, so around about 5th or 6th, but we'll wait and see, unless he gains time in the last sector like we've seen from a few guys in this session. But Farina now then, across the line, he will go, and he goes into 7th place, so he slots in behind Patacek really, so yeah, not really great for the Chip Ganassis really at this stage. As now we look at Francesco La Rosa in the Ferrari, an Italian driving for the Italian team, the perfect combination you would say, but could it actually work out for him this season, as he's looking to hopefully do a good job with Ferrari, given that he spent last season with a backmarker team?
Yeah, this is an upgrade to a factory team is always a big opportunity for you, so let's see what La Rosa can do with it.
Indeed so, as Francesco La Rosa is about to start his first flying lap of the season. Of course, next on track will be his teammate Delay Daniel, who's moved over, of course, from Formula 2 in the second Ferrari, as La Rosa starts his lap now then, as he makes his way towards the first few turns on the racetrack now then. So through into turn 1 he goes, and then into turn 2 will go the Italian, and then he'll go around turns 3 and 4. As well, it looks like he's making a mistake there, as... well, it looked like he just about got it corrected. I thought for a minute he was going to go off the track, but already an early mistake there for La Rosa, and it's definitely cost him in the first sector.
Kind of fucked up there.
He attempts down in that first sector, and well, that's not exactly the impression he wanted to make in his first appearance for Ferrari, as La Rosa now then makes his way down the back straight before approaching the next section of corners. So through into the left-hander he goes, and then into the hairpins, and we'll see if he's able to gain some time back in the middle sector, or whether he continues to lose time. So out of the second hairpin of that section he goes. Let's see what his middle sector looks like, and he's 4/10 down in that middle sector, so I think he could be around about where Fosbury and Tomaselli are, thanks to that mistake.
Yeah, not the lap you'd want to start the season with.
Definitely not, as La Rosa now then makes his way out of the banking, as Francesco La Rosa is about to start, is about to finish the lap, and goes third actually. So he found some time in the last sector, but still not really ideal. That mistake, he'll be definitely kicking himself in the cockpit over that one. As next up on track is his teammate Delay Daniel, who's come off the back of, as mentioned, a very disappointing Formula 2 campaign, and looking to redeem himself here at World ChampCar with Ferrari.
Yeah, in F2 all teams are equal, and if you have a poor season you cannot even use the car as an excuse, so he was dropped from F2. He's landed on what should be a good seat in ChampCar, so he should be hoping to fight for much better positions here.
Yep, but we will wait and see, of course, and he'll be hoping he doesn't make the same mistake as what his teammate La Rosa did a little bit earlier on in the lap. As Delay Daniel is about to start his flying lap here in qualifying, as the next car on track will be Adam Wolf in the Pyramid Racing car, and it will be fascinating to see how Pyramid do now that they're no longer the main BMW team, and how they compare to McLaren, of course. So anyway, Delay Daniel now then making his way towards turn 4 there. No mistake for him, unlike what we saw with La Rosa. So let's see what his first sector is like compared to Prachki, and he's 1/10 up in that first sector. But let's see if the Hungarian driver can keep it up for the remainder of the lap now. Then through into the right-hander will go Delay Daniel now then, as he now makes his way down this back straight before approaching the next section of corners now then. And now approaching the left-hander, and now into these hairpins will go Delay Daniel in the blue and white Scuderia Ferrari. Now out of the second hairpin he goes. Let's see what his middle sector is like compared to Parachki and 4 tenths up in that middle sector. So it looks like, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, which I don't think he should, because, well, it's now flat for the rest of the lap, this should be good enough to get him to the top of the timing screens. But we will see, as Daniel now then comes around the banking, making his way onto the pit straight now. Then we'll go Delebosch Daniel, and across the line we'll go the Ferrari, and he goes 4 tenths faster, a 1 minute 11.181, and he goes to the top of the timing sheets. As we now look at Adam Wolf in the Pyramid racing car, and well, I think it's safe to say, Yuri, it will be interesting to see how they do now that they're not the main BMW team anymore. Of course, they've still got BMW power, but it'll be interesting to see what they're like compared to McLaren, of course, who are now the main BMW team.
It's the same engine as what McLaren has. Pyramid has the advantage that they have had 1 more year of experience with this engine, and last season we saw that they built a really good car.
Yes, indeed, but of course they were the main BMW team last season. Now they are not, so it'd be interesting to see how they do on their own now, and are just now basically customers to BMW. But now, let's see, Wolf now then just coming out of the banking, as he's going to start his first flying lap in World ChampCar, of course. Obviously moved over from DTM after a tricky season over there. As next up on track will be the returning Thomas Anderson to the GP4 OC fraternity, the man who nearly won the GP2 title back in 2019 from Dudu Kirby, only to just missed out in the end, and then we didn't see him for a while until now, here in 2022 as well. Wolf's had a bit of a moment through into turn 4 there. You just saw there, he had a flick of oversteer through into the corner, and as a result, he's 3 tenths down on Delebosch Daniel as a result.
Yeah, he's basically made the same mistake as La Rosa did.
In a way, yes, but the mistake for Wolf came right at turn 4, unlike La Rosa, which started right at the beginning of turn 3, really, and then it just carried on into turn 4, and as a result it's put him 3 tenths back. So I'll be fascinated to see what his middle sector now looks like after that mistake, as Wolf comes out of those hairpins now. Then let's see what the middle sector is going to look like for him. And he's, look at that, a lot of time lost, 1.1 seconds off, and I think he's probably going to be around about where Tom and Sally, Soper and Patacek are at the moment.
Yeah, this is a lap to forget.
As now Wolf comes out of the banking now then, and across the line will go Adam Wolf in the Pyramid racing car, and he goes into 6th position, slots just in front of Lorenzo Tomaselli, but he'll definitely be kicking himself for that mistake in the first sector. As now we look at Thomas Anderson in the 2nd Pyramid racing car, and a return to the GP4 OC fraternity for Julius Anderson's brother, and both of them competing in this series. The last time the pair of them were against each other in any of the series, of course, excluding the Indy 500, of course. I can't recall if Thomas ever competed in the Indy 500, of course, or not, but the last time they did was back in 2016 during, no, sorry, not 2016, 2015 actually, during GP4 Formula E, I believe it was. So they've competed each other before, and I believe Julius actually beat Thomas on that occasion. I think because Thomas actually moved over to DTM halfway through the season, but I think Julius was ahead of Thomas before he went over to DTM. So yeah, it'd be fascinating to see how that battle flares up, as Florian Volker in the Andretti will be coming out next onto the racetrack. But let's see what Anderson's first sector is going to look like compared to Delebosch Daniel, and he's 42 thousandths up in the first sector. So Pyramid looking like they've still got some decent pace without BMW backing.
Yeah, it's like I said, they have the experience from the engine, and we saw that they can build a good car. So my expectations for them for this season are definitely high.
Indeed, as now Anderson just making his way out of the hairpin now then before he approaches the corner, but he's lost time to Daniel in that middle sector now. He's 35 thousandths down on Delebosch Daniel in the middle sector, but let's see if the Swede can gain it back in the last sector or not, as Thomas Anderson now then making his way around the banking now then he goes, and let's see, he looks like he could get onto the front row here, but can he beat Delebosch Daniel? Across the line goes Thomas Anderson, and he goes to the top by 10th of a second, doesn't quite break into the 1 minute 10s, but it's a 1 minute 11.029, and Thomas Anderson goes to the top of the timing screens. As next up on track is Florian Volker, and given that he's in a better team, Yuri, could this be Florian's best chance to potentially challenge for a championship again?
Could be. I mean, he has experience of a title challenge. A lot of experience, actually.
Many times, 5-time top class champion, and could this be a season where he could actually add another championship to his name in 2022, as this is his first season with Andretti, as he's about to start the lap now is the German, as his teammate Gabriel Gomez will be coming out next onto the racetrack now then. as the German makes his way down towards the first few turns on the racetrack. Through turn 2 he goes, and then around into turn 3 will go the 5-time top class champion, as he now makes his way through turn 4 and then into turn 5. Let's see what his first sector looks like compared to Thomas Anderson now. Then he's 1/10 down in that first sector. So looks like the Andretti man currently down on the pyramid driver at this stage, and also down on Delay-Bush Daniel in the first sector. But could he do what but we'll wait and see if he gain it all back though in the last 2 sectors, as I nearly had my words twisted there. So the German now then through into the hairpins he will go, and let's see what his middle sector is going to look like now then in the number 31 Andretti, and he's 1/10 down in that middle sector, so kind of maintained the gap really going through that middle sector. So let's see if he can gain some time in this last sector in the Chevy powered Andretti. Of course, Andretti won here last season with Igor Peter and took pole here as well with Igor Peter, so we'll wait and see if maybe they can get pole this season. Volker goes into third and loses a lot of time in that last sector, 4/10 off of Thomas Anderson. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out with Gabriel Gomez, who, speaking of which, we're now looking at right now. And Gabriel Gomez, a very good season last season in the Andretti. Of course, as said, he is now fully focused on World ChampCar and the GP4. He has no interest of potentially going back to the top class in the future, apart from doing some reserve roles here and there. But yeah, for Gomez, of course, I think the aim is to possibly go for the championship, Yuri.
Yeah, he was good last season, and this season, of course, if he gets a good start to the season, he could definitely go for a championship, I think.
Yeah, indeed, and it looks like even his competitors could be different compared to last season, because of course Igor Peter didn't sign up, Bruno de Barros is retired, and of course Bartosz Kloss has gone back to the top class. Next up on track will be Zachary Fitzwater in the Penske, arguably a step up for the Australian, and looking to see if he can compete. 2/10 down in the first sector for Gabriel Gomez, and I do think that is slower than Volker in the first sector. So have Andretti maybe fallen back a bit? We'll have to wait and see, of course, as Gomez now then approaches towards the section of corners now then as he makes his way through into the left-hander, as he now comes up towards the section of hairpins, through into the right and then into the left-hander now then. He will go, and let's see what the middle sector is going to look like for Gabriel Gomez compared to Thomas Anderson. And he's 5/10 down in that middle sector. So yeah, he's down on Volker at the moment, is Gomez. And it does raise the question, have they been caught up, Andretti, by the likes of Ferrari and Pyramid? That's going to be something to keep an eye on there. But Gomez comes out of the banking now, then he goes. And now Gabriel Gomez is going to cross the line in the Andretti, and he goes into 6th position. So not exactly the qualifying that Andretti was looking for there.
Yeah, definitely not. It's maybe a bit concerning, but we still have the race to go.
Indeed so, as next up on track is Zachary Fitzwater in the Penske, of course moving over from Chip Ganassi Racing, and well, Fitzwater, given how well Penske did last season, given that both of their drivers were fighting for the title last season, could Fitzwater see this as his best chance to finally win a championship in the OC?
Yeah, maybe. I'm just thinking about his history in the OC so far, and I'm not sure if he's capable of that. But maybe he proves all of us wrong.
We'll see as the Aussie now then makes his way out of the banking now then before he makes his way onto the pit straight, as Fitzwater is about to start his first flying lap for Penske, as the final car on track will be his teammate Julius Anderson, who is looking for redemption after being booted out of the top class once again. As now Fitzwater comes out of turn 2 and around turn 3 now then he goes before up towards turn 4. No mistakes for the Aussie on that occasion, so let's see what his first sector looks like compared to Thomas Anderson now then, and he's 200ths up in the first sector, only 22 thousandths up in that first sector, so we'll see if Fitzwater is able to keep that up for the remainder of the lap. As they come out of the right-hander now then, Fitzwater heading down towards the hairpins now then on the racetrack, as Fitzwater is into the left-hander, as now in towards the hairpins will go Zachary Fitzwater in the Penske. And now let's see what his middle sector is going to look like compared to Thomas Anderson now then. And into the middle sector, 96 thousandths up on that occasion, nearly a tenth. So Fitzwater could grab pole position here, and that would confirm that Penske would get the first pole of the season, because of course Julius Anderson is the last to go out, and he's also driving for Penske this season. Fitzwater out of the banking now, then he goes as the Australian is going to cross the line. Can he go to the top of the timing sheet? No, he can't. He loses time in that last sector, surprisingly, and ends up a 10th behind Thomas Anderson. That is a very big surprise indeed. So that does mean, Yuri, it's an Anderson battle for pole position here.
It's the tacticians have taken over this series as Julius Anderson in a Renault liveried car is coming through here.
Obviously got Alpine as a sponsor because he is, of course, a Renault reserve driver in the top class. And, well, obviously, it does mean that an Anderson will be on pole position. It's just which Anderson brother is it going to be? Is it going to be Julius? Or is it going to be Thomas? That's going to be interesting. And we could end up with an Anderson front row here if Anderson is able to find enough pace to get his car onto the front row. But let's see then. Julius Anderson coming out of the final two corners on the racetrack now. Then we go. And now making his way out of the banking he goes onto the pit straight. And Anderson is going to start his flying lap. He's the final car to do a lap, and let's see if Julius can beat his brother Thomas to the top of the timing streets. As now Anderson through into the first couple of corners he goes, through turn 1, and then into turn 2 he goes. Round turn 3, and now up towards turn 4. No mistake so far for the 2016 DTM champion. As Anderson now then, let's see what his first sector is like compared to his brother. 1/10 down in the first sector. He's also down on Fitzwater, but of course, we know that Fitzwater lost time in the last sector somewhere, and who knows really. Will Anderson gain it back in the next two? We'll have to wait and see. As Julius now then makes his way towards the left-hander now, then he will go. So now flicking the car in through the left, and now up towards the hairpins now, then he will go. So through the first one, now into the second one. Let's see what his middle sector looks like this time. He was exactly a 10th down on Thomas in that first sector. His second sector now then, 2 tenths down in that middle sector. So I don't think he's going to get onto the front row here. I think he could be looking at potentially a row 2 start here behind Delebosch Daniel. So let's see then. Julius Anderson towards the banking he goes now then. Around the banking and now down the pit straight will go the 2016 DTM champion Julius Anderson. Across the line he will go, and he goes into 4th position. Not able to beat his brother. And that means on his return to the OC, Thomas Anderson gets the first pole of 2022. Pyramid get the first pole of 2022, and Thomas Anderson gets the first point of the season, because of course you get a bonus point for pole position in this series. Thomas Anderson on pole position with Zachary Fitzwater in second, Delebosch Daniel in third, with Julius Anderson fourth, Florian Volker in fifth, with Ennis Paretsky, a very good sick for him indeed in the McLaren, Alex Eric Lucien in seventh, Gabriel Gomez down in eighth, with Francesco La Rosa in ninth, Jared Fosbury completes the top 10 in the Mercedes-powered Chip Ganassi. Adam Wolf in 11th, with Lorenzo Tomaselli in 12th, Frederick Soper 13th, Marat Patacek in 14th, Luca Farina in 15th, Yuri Gabriel 16th, with Simon Mutka in 17th, Luke Mason in 18th, Julem Stopi in 19th, with Rosetta Martinez in 20th, Dorian Maluski in 21st, and Yuri Kratichvel in 22nd and last. So, of course, we're just going to obviously stick around because we will have the race on this stream as well. So stick around as Yuri sorts out the grid, because of course there was the mistake rate of course in this session. So bear with, and for the meantime I'm just going to get the tweet sorted out for Twitter. So apologies if I go a little bit silent, but I will be back with you in just a tick. So stick around, the race will be coming up very, very soon. The tweet is now up on Twitter, and yeah, very interesting qualifying session indeed there. And whilst we wait for Yuri to sort out the grid, of course, might as well mention a couple of things, of course, before we get into the race, because for anybody who's not on Discord, you may have not seen this news from Yuri last night, but there is some changes to World Champ Car in terms of pit stops for this season, and also the race distance for World Champ Car. So, well, he says minor rule change, but I'd say it's kind of a major one, really. The race distance is now a 70% race distance now for World Champ Car, and it is possible now for 1 or 2 stops to happen. So rather than last season where it was fixed at 2 pit stops whenever it didn't glitch on us, instead 1 and 2 stops are now allowed. It has a high preference, though, of 2 pit stops, though, the system that Yuri has, but it can sometimes be a 1 stop. So so that's pretty much that, really. And I think it's because I think you're trying to avoid a little issue that happened last season, Yuri, when it came to the pit stops, if I'm not mistaken.
It's that, and I'm just doing kind of everything in my power to save time.
Yes. So
Because as we know, I'm starting to get a little bit overloaded, so I'm trying to off it a little bit by doing these little changes that, like, as a whole, doing so many minor changes that give a little bit more time. It's going to amount to quite a lot in the end, which helps me out.
yep. So, but yeah, that's that really. So if you see 1 stops in this race, then don't think it's the issues that we had last season with the pit stops. That is normal. So you might see some drivers trying to go for the 1 stop, but you might see for the majority they're trying to go for the 2 stop in this race. But either way, I think it could add a little bit more of a dynamic in the race. You would expect, Yuri, in terms of strategic play.
Yeah, this is the first one, so I'm not sure how just setting it to 70% is going to work in actuality, but I mean soon enough we will see.
Indeed, so that's pretty much that. Also, guys, I hope you enjoyed the short highlights that came out for the top class, of course, for the recently for the Australian Grand Prix. Of course, they will be there for every race, of course, as announced back in the end of season discussion stream, and also at the beginning of this season as well for anybody who missed that announcement during the end of season discussion stream. But there will be short highlights for every top class race now. Expect it to come out every Thursday and Friday after each Grand Prix, really. I say Thursday and Friday because it sometimes depends on if I'm in the middle or something on Thursdays, because normally, for anybody who doesn't know, I actually do some league racing on Thursday, so it kind of depends whether and how quickly I can do the highlights before a league race starts, really. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So I hope you enjoyed it. It seemed that from what I saw from the comments anyway on both Discord and YouTube, it was for the most part positive. So thank you for that. Really encouraging indeed. So it's so you'll be obviously seeing some more highlights this week, of course, from the Chinese Grand Prix, either this Thursday or Friday. So do look out for that, of course. But already there was a tweet that came in from DTM Fan TV, who just put underneath after I announced that Thomas Anderson had took the first pole of the season. He just put underneath the better Anderson. So I don't know how Julius is going to feel about that one when he sees the tweet, but there we are. So that's pretty much that, and so that's pretty much that. The reason why I decided to call it short highlights in the title flow rather than just highlights is because I'm not really a fan for clickbait, if I'm being honest with you, because I think if I just put the word highlights, I think there will be still people who would expect it to be the lengthy highlights that I've done in the past, even though the video length says otherwise. So I kind of wanted to avoid that, but I do understand your point. Maybe in the future I might start to just call it highlights, but for now I think I'll just call it short highlights for now, and then just phase out the word short eventually at some point, because I don't want it to be confusing to viewers, basically. So especially those who didn't hear about what happened to my my old hard drive last season, which sadly died on me and brought an end to those lengthy highlights that I did in the past. So yeah, that's that really. Um, so anyway, so we're just waiting for the race to get underway. Given it's a 70% race, if I do some working out here whilst
It
Yuri
should
is
be
waiting.
pretty close to the same similar race distance to last season with the 70%.
According to my calculator, it's 51 laps because normally the F1 race, because I'm pretty sure it takes the laps from the F1 race this track, it was 73 laps in real life in F1. So I don't.
Yeah.
It might be 51. It might not be. I can't remember how many laps it was last season, to be honest with you. I know that the race distance may have changed slightly, but again, I cannot remember what it was. Was it 60 laps last season? It might have been. I don't know, to be honest with you. I might be wrong on all of it. I guess we'll have to wait and see when we get onto the grid, I guess,
Yeah.
rather than me speculating.
I'm just going to quickly. I will just quickly disable the custom helmets because
Yep.
people had them just. They are
The
wrong.
wrong way round.
They are wrong,
Yep,
and I need to completely redo them for next time. So, yay.
yes. So a little bit of work there for Yuri, I'm afraid, but yeah. Yeah. Looking for a good race, of course. Obviously, this is not the only stream that is happening tonight, of course, because tonight Formula 2 returns to action with pre-season testing, of course.
Ooh,
Tonight, of course, the Formula 2 fraternity is over at Buenos Aires for the first day, and day 2, which is a bit of an interesting one, I pointed out, was the fact that it's at Baku for day 2. Stranger Street Circuit is hosting a pre-season test, but whatever. I mean, it's obviously Flo's choice at the end of the day.
Well, they
So,
need to build Baku multiple times a year, it seems like.
indeed, I think that was the case a few seasons ago when Formula E used to go to Baku. A few seasons ago, they had to build Baku a few times. So, yeah, kind of a similar thing here, really. Anyway, so
I do
that's
have
obviously
the
that.
stuff
That's all.
ready, so we are about to begin soon.
Yeah, I was just going to say, of course. So, Formula 2 returns tonight at 7 p.m. GMT for the first day of pre-season testing. Obviously, you would have already seen the liveries for that series anyway, because I put them up on Twitter, of course, and it should be interesting to see how everybody does, of course, during those pre-season tests. And of course, we don't really get a true reflection of what the pace is going to be like, but usually in pre-season testing, but. Who knows, really? Maybe it's one of those cases where it might actually tell the truth for once. You will see. It's like hooking it up to a lie detector test, I guess. So, yeah, that was that, really. GP4 FE used to race in Baku, yes. Back in, I think the last time they ran there was back in 2017, I think. During the finale, in fact, when Michael Clark actually won the Formula E title, actually. So, fun fact there. I think that was the last time that Formula E actually went to Baku from memory, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think the Gen 2 cars ever went to Baku. I think it was the previous gen that was the only one that went to Baku. So, that's that, really. So, obviously, something to some bit of trivia there for you. But yeah, we'll be getting underway pretty soon, as Yuri just said, and we'll be getting underway very soon now. Then, as the screen is now back up on your screen, and it is 51 laps, so my calculator was correct. Yay! So anyway. Let's go through the grid then for anybody who missed the qualifying session just earlier on. So here is the grid then for today's race then. Thomas Anderson in his return to the OC is on pole position with Zachary Fitzwater in his first race for Penske in second. Delebosch Daniel will start in third with Julius Anderson a row behind his brother in fourth. Florian Volker in his first race for Andretti starts in fifth with Ennis Perechki in the Arrow McLaren SP in sixth. They're first with BMW Power. Alex-Eric Lucin, a good qualifying for him. He starts in seventh with Gabriel Gomez, a disappointing eighth. Francesca La Rosa, thanks to that mistake, starts in ninth with Jared Fosbury in 10th for for Chip Ganassi. Adam Wolf, a disappointing qualifying for him after his mistake. He starts 11th with Lorenzo Tomaselli on his return to the OC in 12th. Frederick Soper starts in 13th with Marat Patacek, the rookie, starting in 14th, way down on his teammate Parachki. Luca Farina starts in 15th with Yuri Gabriel starting in 16th. Simon Mutka will start 17th in the Peugeot with Luke Mason in 18th position. Julim Stopi starts 19th with Rosetta Martinez down in 20th. And on the back row of the grid, it is Dorian Maluski and Yuri Kratichville. So, the weather, bright and sunny, no rain expected. So, let's get on with proceedings then, shall we? And it'd be very interesting to see what strategies all the teams go on. Will some of them go on the one stop or will they go on the two stop? Let's wait and see then, shall we? As we wait to get out onto the grid. So, here we are then for the start of the new season then. And looks like they're all going for a similar strategy on this one. So it seems like everybody's gone for the two-stop on this occasion then. So it's Anderson on the left of your screens, Fitzwater on the right. Who is going to get the lead of the first corner? We're having to guess here because there's no light graphics on here. So we wait for the 5 lights to go out, which they go out right about now then, and we are underway for the 2022 GP4 World ChampCar Flight Championship. A very good start from Julius Anderson on the second row of the grid. I think that was, no, in fact it was Darius Daniel who got a good start. Both of them got very confused. He was down to the first corner. Thomas Anderson keeps the lead from Fitzwater. Great start from Parachki. He's up into third position. A fantastic start from the Macedonian driver in the McLaren. He's got himself into the top 3. Has everybody got through the first few corners safely? Seems like there's no yellow flags. I think everybody's got through safely, which is good news indeed, because of course last season we did have a start crash last season with these cars, but it looks like everybody's kept it clean. But Thomas Anderson has kept the lead throughout the first few corners.
Yeah, that's what you need to do when starting on pole, keep position, but he's being under heavy pressure from Fitzwater.
Fitzwater is determined to try and get the lead, but he's also got Parachki and co all over the back over. He's just stuck behind Thomas Anderson at this point in time as Fitzwater technically in a BMW sandwich. He's got the BMW powered Pyramid in front and the BMW powered McLaren behind, and it looks like he's more under pressure from Parachki than what he is to try and catch up to Thomas Anderson. It looks like Parachki might have a go here at Fitzwater. He's going to try and look into the banking if he can. Usually this doesn't work unless you can get an overlap before the banking, and it doesn't on that occasion. Will Darius Daniel take full advantage of this as he tries to gain in? But in fact he's having to fend off from Julius Anderson, who actually didn't get the best of starts, and now he's on the inside of Darius Daniel as Parachki takes the early fastest lap and he gets 4th place. But can Darius get him back into the first corner? He's going to go late on the brakes and Darius gets the place back, so he's not letting Anderson go that easily so far.
Yeah, good fighting already in the top half of the grid. Looks like it's only lap 2 of the season, but we might be in for some very good racing.
Indeed so, as Parachki is still not giving up on Fitzwater just in front, but the more they keep battling, it will just allow Thomas Anderson to get away a little bit more in the pyramid now then, as Ennis tries to line him up for a pass down into turn 7 if he can, as he's not able to get the move done. Sorry, I should say turn 8. Meanwhile, Volker, who's not had the best of starts either, he's down to 9th. He's currently stuck behind Francesco La Rosa, who's gained a place from the start, and Lorenzo Tomaselli has had a good start as well. He's gained 2 places from the start. He's already into the top 10 as a result, as the top 3 are once again very grouped together going around the banking. Again, Parachki in the slipstream of Zachary Fitzwater, who's also got slipstream from Thomas Anderson in front, and Parachki not able to get the job done, and I don't think Fitzwater is close enough to get a hold of Thomas Anderson just yet as they make their way towards the first corner, although looks like Parachki might have a run on Fitzwater. He's going to go to the inside. Anderson meanwhile behind trying to have a go at Darius Daniel into the first corner. Parachki can't get the move done, but Julius Anderson certainly can, and he's up into 4th position. Now can he set his sights on both Parachki and Fitzwater in front? As now they make their way through into the section of corners now then, as meanwhile looks like Darius will now have to fend off from Gabriel Gomez, who's had a very good start to the race. He's gained 2 places from the start and has got up into 6th position, but now as we ride on board with Thomas Anderson, just trying to keep an eye on what's going on behind him really, because Fitzwater and Parachki are not far behind. Parachki once again trying to have a go down the inside into this left-hander, but again Fitzwater leaving his braking that little bit later to hold on to the place for the time being as they make their way through into the hairpin now. They're through the first one Then into the second one, we will go. Parachi's got to be wary because he's got Julius Anderson right behind him as well. He doesn't want to be wasting too much time getting stuck behind the Australian here. As now they come out of the turn 11 now, then through turn 12, we will go. As now, can Parachi get a run on Fitzwater and get an overlap before the banking? Let's see. Through into the banking we go. Parachi on the inside again. Fitzwater holds on for dear life. Looks like Anderson is still trying to fend off from Delay-Bush. Daniel is trying to attack him back and forth. But meanwhile, right in front, Parachi on the inside of Fitzwater. Can he get second place and make it a BMW 1-2 in this race? Down the inside he goes. No, he can't. Fitzwater just has the straight line speed. Same with Anderson compared to Delay-Bush Daniel over there. And, well, once again, Parachi still stuck behind Fitzwater at this point.
Yeah, good defending from Fitzwater at the moment. But by defending, he's losing time to Anderson all the time, which is not good if he wants to win the race.
You say that, but Anderson did have to fend off from Delay-Bush Daniel on the previous lap, so it would have prevented him there from gaining onto those two at that point. Oh, the other Anderson, sorry, Thomas Anderson is, meanwhile, again, Fitzwater defending the inside, going through into the section of corners now then, as they now make their way through into the hairpins, as now Anderson, Julius, meanwhile, gained a lot through that braking point, and he's now right onto the gearbox of Enis Parachi now then, so he's now joined in into this fight for second place, as they now make their way through to turn 11 now then. Thomas Anderson, meanwhile, in the pyramid, starting to get away a little bit, as they now make their way through into the final couple of the corners now then we go. Anderson losing a bit of momentum coming out of that corner, and it's leaving it not going for it on the banking this time by, but he could get a run down in towards the first corner. Meanwhile, Wolf has overtaken La Rosa, unseen by the cameras. He's up to ninth, but again, Parachi just can't get in. Looks like the straight line speed of the BMW just seems like no match to the Honda at this point.
Yeah, it's either the engine on or then the setup of the car, because Parachi is looking very fast on the corners.
Yeah, indeed, and Parachi, if he can't get by him on the track, it looks like he's going to have to wait for the pit stops to get that one done, as now they go through into the hairpins. Anderson still not, Julius Anderson that is, still not gaining onto those two at the moment, as the other Anderson is now over a second clear of Zachary Fitzwater, who is still having to fend off from Parachi. Again, Parachi trying to have a go. Fitzwater not really closing the door there, and didn't really need to, because I don't think Ennis was fully committed to try and go for that move into the left-hander, and it might allow the pair, both Julius Anderson and Gabriel Gomez, who unseen by the cameras has overtaken Delay-Bush Daniel on the track. So Gomez is now up into 5th position and could find himself behind this fight for second place now. So Gomez up into 5th place and might want to attack Anderson very, very soon, as now they come around these two corners now then. And once again, Parachi, in fact, he tried to go for it on the banking there, didn't quite get enough momentum, but can he get the slipstream on Fitzwater down towards the first corner? Let's see, he's going to look to the inside, but I wonder if the straight line speed is once again going to affect him here, as we've got a yellow flag at the banking. Something's happened down at the banking. What's happened there? And oh, it's Delay-Bush Daniel. That might explain why Gabriel Gomez has got by. Delay-Bush Daniel is out of the race, and he becomes the first retirement of 2022 with a gearbox problem.
Yeah, that's not the ideal start. The Ferrari car's gearbox just dies completely on the banking, and it's race over.
Shame for Delay-Bush Daniel, who qualified very well. Who qualified very, very well and was looking quite decent in this race, but unfortunately, as a gearbox issue has put pay to that, and he becomes the first retirement of the 2022 World ChampCar season, and that could be worrying signs for his teammate Francesco La Rosa, as meanwhile Parachi is still not being able to get by on Zachary Fitzwater. The gap between him and Thomas Anderson now up to 1.4 seconds. Parachi again trying to look to the inside, but once again not going to work out, and well, it looks like he missed the apex there to Parachi, because now once again Julius Anderson and Gabriel Gomez are now right with him on the gearbox, and if they're not careful, Alex-Eric Lucien, who's also having a fantastic race in that Peugeot, could also try and get himself involved in this scrap as well. But once again, Parachi, with insane traction coming out of turn 11, once again tries to attack Fitzwater for second place. Can he get him through the banking? Can he get the overlap before then? No, he can't. Once again, Fitzwater keeping in front and just has enough men to stay him up. Meanwhile, Gomez on the inside of Julius Anderson here. Can he get P4 from the Swede now? Then the two DTM champions going side by side, and he didn't even need to wait for the corner. Gomez up into 4th position. He also got some slipstream from Parachi there, but wasn't able to get the move done. And Gomez up into 4th place as Tomaselli gets by on his fellow compatriot La Rosa there and gets up into 9th position, as they have also got the McLaren of Marat Patacek trying to catch them up. So Patacek looking to try and get some points in his first ever GP4 OC race.
Yeah, McLaren looking quite good on the race at the moment. With P3 and the rookie is closing on the points position.
Yeah, indeed. As meanwhile, Gomez and Anderson once again scrapping it out for 4th position. And I wonder if Paratsky's got to be a little bit wary of Gabriel Gomez behind, who is now broke free from Julius Anderson. As we look at Sopen, meanwhile, who's having a little bit of a moment going through into the left-hander there. But luckily, nothing serious there. He's currently in 12th. Teammate Tomaselli currently in the points as we speak at this point in time, as he's currently in 9th position ahead of fellow compatriot Francesca La Rosa. But meanwhile, what is going on in that fight for 2nd place, I wonder, looking around at that banking, as meanwhile, as Gomez once again having to fend off from Anderson, because once again, Anderson trying to attack him for 4th position, but Gomez has got a run on Paratsky here. It looked like he got caught up a bit by Fitzwater. Gomez on the inside, Anderson looking for any opportunity he can, and Gomez gets onto the podium places. Up into 3rd place goes Gabriel Gomez from 6th on the grid.
Yeah, Gomez is
not
on
6th on the grid. 8th on the grid, I should say. He's been on a fantastic run so far, and now he wants Zachary Fitzwater in front.
So yeah, looks like it was just a poor lap in qualifying, and he's now going for seriously trying to win the race.
But it depends on how quickly he can get by on Fitzwater, who's just done a brilliant job so far fending off on Paratsky. And now Paratsky will now need to watch Julius Anderson right behind, as Volker losing a bit of touch to Alex-Eric Lucian just in front, whilst his teammate Gomez is flying in front of him up in 3rd and trying to attack Zachary Fitzwater for 2nd place. As meanwhile, Rosetta Martinez is fighting his teammate Yuri Gabriel for 15th position. Martinez looking to the inside of Yuri Gabriel, but Gabriel going to stay in front. Jalum Stopey trying to have a look at one of the Vipers there. I think that's Luke Mason. He was trying to get by there, but it didn't quite work out. Now, let's see if Gomez can get a run on Fitzwater down the pit straight now. Then he wasn't close enough going through the banking, and I think there might be just enough of a gap for Fitzwater to stay in front on this occasion. And yes, there will be. But I think on the next lap, Fitzwater has got to keep looking in his mirrors, because Gomez is really breathing down his neck. As the two Meyershanks once again into combat going around the banking there, but Martinez was not able to get the move done on Gabriel there, and it looks like he's not going to be close enough to get him on this occasion, even though he is in the switch. In fact, he might actually have a go, in fact, but I don't think he's going to have enough to get him, and nope, it looks like Gabriel is just going to stay in front for the time being. And speaking of Gabriel, here is Gabriel Gomez now then, who's trying to attack Fitzwater for 2nd place, and pretty much it's all aboard the Zachary Fitzwater train, as you can see. Everybody just stuck behind the Penske at the moment, as now they make their way through the section of corners now then in towards the hairpin. Now then we go through the right and then into the left-hander we will go, as Fitzwater really holding everybody up at this stage of the race. And now in towards turn number 11 we will go, as Gomez tries to see if he can get a run on Fitzwater now then through into turn 12. Now then we go, can he get an overlap on Fitzwater into the banking? Now then through the banking he goes, he might actually have an overlap, and yes he does. Look at that, Gabriel Gomez up into 2nd place, but can Fitzwater get him back into turn 1? Fitzwater on the inside of Gomez going into the 1st corner. Can Fitzwater get the move back on the Brazilian? Down towards turn 1 we go. Has he got 2nd place back? And yes he has. Yes, Fitzwater back up into 2nd place, as Volker has taken 6th place away from, I think that's Alex-Eric Lucian. So Volker up into 6th, and now he'll try and catch up with this group that's in front of him at this stage of the race. It's been a very, very good battle for 2nd place so far.
Yeah, the fighting's been going on for a while of the race so far.
Indeed so, and I think in about a couple of laps time, I think, or maybe even a lap or so, we should be expecting the first round of pit stops to get underway very, very soon. So this could really determine the fight for 2nd at that point of the race. So meanwhile, once again, look like Gomez, whilst also attacking Fitzwater there, was having to defend a little bit from Enis Paratsky. Now coming out of the hairpin we go, and now in towards the final few turns on the racetrack. We will go on the racetrack, and I said racetrack twice there. You might as well have a drink to that every time I say it. But anyway, looks like Gomez is once again going to try and go for it into the banking, and once again, it looks like he's going to have the overlap on Fitzwater, although Fitzwater is trying to stick with him around the outside there. As oh, that was close there, as Anderson tried to attack Paratsky there, but it looks like Gomez has finally got the move done, unless Fitzwater can try and get him back into the 1st corner. Fitzwater not giving 2nd place up that easily, but Gomez closes the door on him, and he's up into 2nd place. Gomez now up to 2nd. Now, can he chase after Thomas Anderson for the lead?
He looks very fast. I think he can catch Thomas.
Yeah, indeed so. As meanwhile, it looks like Anderson was unable to get a hold of Paratsky on that occasion, and once again, Paratsky able to fend off fourth place for the time being. And now, once again, Paratsky now having to put Fitzwater under a bit of pressure. It looks like now Volker is definitely starting to gain him, but might also drag Lucian and Wolf with him at this stage. As that was very close there between Paratsky and Fitzwater there, as they make their way through into the hairpin, through the right, and then into the left-hander. Now, then we will go. Now approaching turn 11 now then, as we've got a yellow flag, and it's Stopey! Jalum Stopey, another gearbox issue in this race, and Jalum Stopey, in his first ever GP4 OC race, is out here at Indianapolis. Not the way he wanted to start his first ever race in the GP4 OC fraternity.
Yeah, I know he was running in P19 and yeah, it just goes.
Indeed, and race over there for Jalum Stopey, and we are now down to 20 runners as a result. Another gearbox failure in this race. Daniel, of course, retired earlier on with a gearbox issue, and once again the gearbox goes on Jalum Stopey. So it looks like the gearboxes could be a thing around here at Indianapolis. As meanwhile, Paratsky trying to get a run on Fitzwater into the first corner. He's in the slipstream of the Penske. Fitzwater already covering the inside, and once again, just like we saw earlier, Fitzwater just not letting Paratsky go.
Yeah, Fitzwater is defending very well. Gomez found the extra pace to get past him, but it looks like Paratsky is not able to do that at the moment.
Indeed, the yellow flags have now been cleared as the two Meyershanks continue to fight for 15th for Martinez on the inside of Yuri Gabriel, but it looks like he's going to finally get the move done. That was close to contact, but Martinez gets the move done and is up into 15th as Kratchitsville has overtaken Muka. Muka is having a terrible race in the Peugeot. It's been a disaster for him so far in this race, in his first race for Peugeot Sport, and yeah, not really a good race considering where his teammate Alex-Eric Lucien is, which is 7th place at the moment, and on the back of this battle for 3rd place, which is being held up by Fitzwater.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good look when your teammate is fighting for a podium and you're fighting the rookies.
Take that 8th, in fact, as we've got a pit stop there. That's Gomez who's coming to the pits, I think. We've got a few pit calls, in fact, so the pit stops are now underway as Gomez is coming to the pits for Andretti, and we're trying to get a hold of him if we can somewhere. But meanwhile, Volker is attacking Anderson, meanwhile, as Tomaselli also comes into the pits. Meanwhile, Paratsky once again trying to go onto the inside of Fitzwater, but again can't make it work. But Volker can get it done on Anderson, and he's up into 4th place temporarily, because of course Gomez is in the pits as we speak, as is Tomaselli in the Carlin. And we should see Gomez. There he is. Gomez just finishes his pit stop there, a 7.8 second stop. So yep, to confirm, I think everybody is on a 2-stop today, Yuri.
Yeah, it looks like the settings have actually worked out. Maybe.
Maybe. But we'll wait and see on that. As meanwhile, we've got Fitzwater holding up this train of cars again. As now Paratsky looking to the inside once again of Fitzwater. Luke Mason also came into the pits, his first ever pit stop, but can't get the move done. Paratsky's got to be wary because he's got all these cars that are just grouping up behind him. Francesco La Rosa in the Ferrari is coming into the pits at the end of this lap. I wonder when Thomas Anderson is going to peel into the pits. Well, not this lap. He's not got the pit indicator, so maybe in about a couple of laps you should see him come in. We'll have to wait and see on that one, of course. But we know that La Rosa is coming in this lap. Now, Paratsky once again trying to attack Fitzwater for a temporary 2nd place, because, of course, as mentioned, Gomez has been in. But again, Fitzwater able to fend off. Can Volker take full advantage of this and the Andretti behind? But it looks like he's not close enough on this occasion and has to hold on to that position. And I've only just realised what colour car that Volker's driving, because if anybody has been around the OC for a long time will know about Florian's disdain for green, and the fact he's driving a green car in this series is quite coincidental there, it's fair to say, or deliberate maybe in the case of Evan. I wonder if that's why he went for green. There's a few more cars coming to the pits, and here is Simon Mutka, and I think this is Simon Mutka anyway we're riding on board with, and no, it's Alex-Eric Lucien. He's obviously come into the pits earlier on, but Lucien doesn't want to race any time, especially when he was on the back of that fight for that final podium place. Lucien on the inside of the manor there, and he takes the place with ease, so a position gained as Anderson and Volker once again fighting for 4th position. And now making his way around the hairpins now. Then we go as we now look at Parachki, who once again trying to put Fitzwater under pressure. Anderson still not pitting on this occasion, as in fact Fitzwater did get the gap down a little bit down between himself and Thomas Anderson, but only by hundredths and not tenths on that occasion, as Lucian up into 13th. He's actually behind, I think that's his teammate, isn't it? Yeah. Simon Mutka is currently behind. And Mutka... Oh, that was close indeed there. Luckily, they kept it clean, but I don't think Mutka's going to let Lucian go that easily, and I don't think Alex is going to... I don't think Alex is going to be very, very happy with that one, as Marat Patacek comes in for his first ever GP4 OC pit stop, as Parachki is coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Now, I wonder if Thomas Anderson is coming in this lap, because we did see that drivers usually go in when there's around 5 laps of fuel left in the wagon, and it is the case for Anderson as well. He's coming into the pit at the end of this lap, as Parachki is trying to, maybe if he can't get Fitzwater on track, looks like he's going to try and get him in the pits if he can.
Yeah, I think the chance to undercut could be quite good. It seems as if he almost tries to go there, but...
Yeah, he nearly went for a quite audacious move there, it's fair to say, as meanwhile I think Thomas Anderson will be coming into the pits very, very soon, as Yuri Gabriel tries to find a way through on Luke Mason there. Obviously, that was the car that Yuri Gabriel drove last season, and now it's being driven by Luke Mason this season. As now we know that Thomas Anderson is now into the pits. The race leader is into the pits for his first pit stop of the afternoon, as La Rosa not wasting any time with, I think this is also Simon Mutka as well, and yes it is, so these two not really helping each other, it's fair to say. But as mentioned, the leaders are in, including Thomas Anderson and Enis Parachki. Thomas Anderson has finished his pit stop, Parachki now into the pits for BMW McLaren SP, so the two BMW powered teams are both into the pits as we speak. 8.4 seconds the pit stop for Enis Parachki, and around a 6.3 second stop for Thomas Anderson, so a lot quicker there than Enis, and he looks like he's going for a shorter distance than what Enis is doing. As meanwhile Martinez is trying to attack Gomez here, who, hello a minute, Gomez is not far behind Anderson there, and I wonder if Martinez perhaps cost Gomez a chance there to jump Anderson.
Look, so the undercut seemed really good for Gomez, but too bad for the traffic, and look how far Anderson's going while Gomez is stuck here.
Martinez is definitely not giving Gomez any favours whatsoever. Fitzwater's going to stay out for a little bit longer. Anybody else in that group going to come in? I'm not sure, as meanwhile looks like Gabriel once again having to fend off from Luke Mason here going into the first few corners, as Mutka makes his pit stop in what has been a disaster for him. But Florian Volker is into the pits, as is Adam Wolf. So we've got a pit stop battle on our hands here between Andretti and Pyramid. And I would imagine that maybe Andretti have got the higher garage, if I am not mistaken, judging from Constructors' Order last season. And yep, so you would imagine that Volker's going to have garage advantage here compared to Adam Wolf. As he puts on a fresh set of tyres and a bit more fuel, of course. Both of them once again going for the two-stop like everybody else is doing today. 7.5 second stop from the Andretti mechanics. A 7.8 second stop for Wolf. He had to wait a little bit there to avoid going side by side with Florian Volker, as there's some more pit mechanics in the pit lanes. We've got your flag.
Oh,
it's Thomas Anderson! Thomas Anderson, the race leader, is out! Unbelievable! A mechanical failure is taking care of Anderson. And, don't hit the tyres, anyone, but Thomas Anderson is out with a mechanical failure. Can you believe it?
Damn.
Even Yuri's speech of that one. And it's another gearbox issue. What is going on with the gearboxes today around this race?
Yeah, looks like the track or the conditions are taking the toll on the gearboxes of the cars.
Yeah, indeed, and Thomas Anderson, the race leader, is out. Oh, that was close there for Dorian Maluski to collect some debris there. Hopefully everybody will avoid that wheel that was on the track there.
I mean, you hit that wheel and you're going to have a massive crash, so yeah.
It looks like the yellows have been cleared, so I think the tyre has now gone, thankfully. So, thankfully, no major crashes there. But it does mean that I think once everybody pits, as Fitzwater's coming in at the end of this lap, Gabriel Gomez is going to take the lead of the race.
Yeah, but he's fighting Lucian, look.
Look at Lucian, who's had an amazing stint on this occasion. He's actually dumped Parachki in the pit and could actually be fighting Gomez for the win here. A Peugeot could actually try and win this race today.
Now it's looking very interesting.
Indeed, as meanwhile Fitzwater is into the pits for Penske. I do wonder though how much time Gomez has lost from being held up by Martinez, who I believe has finally come into the pits. So anyway, as mentioned, Fitzwater is in. I think somebody else is just coming to the pits on the right hand side there. But can Lucien get a run on Gomez here? Let's see the Frenchman trying to start potentially his first ever win in the OC now. Then as Alex-Eric Lucien tries to have a go at Gomez at the first corner. It's Fosbury is in. Parachki sets the fast lap of the race. In fact, they're trying to go three wide. Into the first corner, Parachki trying to get the pair of them. Into the first corner, Parachki gets that little bit later. He takes one place, so he gets a place back off Lucien, but wasn't able to get Gomez there. Where did Fitzwater come out in all this? Because he came into the pits on that occasion, and he's rejoined in 7th. He's actually been jumped by a lot of cars, so that just shows how slow he was on that first stint.
Yeah, but now he has the freshest tires of the group, so maybe he could do a fight back here still.
Indeed, as now we look at Parachki now, then he's all over the back of Gabriel Gomez now, and he wants a chance to try and win this as well as they make their way through into the corner. As a result of Anderson retiring for the race, this has really opened this race up as a result.
Yeah, I think anybody in the top 5 or top 6 could win the race still.
Indeed, Anderson was around as Julius Anderson now comes into the pits, the only Anderson remaining in this race now then. As now we look at Enis Parachki, who's trying to have a go on the inside of Gabriel Gomez, but can't get the move done. It just seems like the straight line speed of that BMW might be holding the McLaren back a bit. But anyway, it's not going to stop Parachki from having a go, though, as they both go through on Anderson, who's come in. But can Parachki get the lead off Gabriel Gomez at the first corner? No, he can't. Gomez holds on to the lead for the time being. Fitzwater still in front of Anderson. Meanwhile, and Julius Anderson emerges in 7th place. So you could maybe argue the top 7 could fight this out, as Lucien is just watching on, really, with probably a box of popcorn in his hand. As they now make their way through into these section of corners now then, as he's still under a second behind these two who look like they could be scrapping for the lead for quite a while, and Lucien will be hoping to take full advantage of this if he can, as Volker tries to gain as well. Parachki again though trying to put Gomez under a bit of pressure now then in this race as he now makes his way in towards the hairpin now then. We will go as now they come out of the left-hander now. Then can Parachki maybe get the lead off of Gomez on this occasion? Is he going to potentially try and think of getting him into the banking again and then maybe trying to get a run into the first corner? We shall wait and see. Through turn 12 we go. Parachki in on the back of Gomez, looking to the inside of the Brazilian, going into the banking. Can he get the overlap? The answer to that is no, he can't. Can he get some slipstream off of Gomez, or has Gomez got better traction? I think Gomez might have better traction, although Parachki will still get some slipstream off of the Brazilian. But Gomez, I think, is just going to hold on for the time being. And meanwhile, looks like in the background it looks like Fitzwater and Wolf are fighting for what is 5th position. In fact, unseen by the cameras, in fact Fitzwater has overtaken Wolf, as meanwhile Patacek takes 8th place from Francesco La Rosa there, and well, up into 8th place goes the McLaren driver. Both McLarens currently in the points at the moment. Patacek having an insane rookie race.
Yeah, good rookie performance so far. You need to have higher expectations for him than you will for the other rookies in the weaker cars. Of course, the McLaren is looking very strong.
Well, Wolf trying to get the place back off Fitzwater if he can, but he's also got to be wary that he's also got Julius Anderson right behind, trying to put him under pressure in the Penske as they make their way through these section of corners. Now then we go. Meanwhile, Kratichville has passed Mason, unseen by the cameras on the racetrack, so through into the final few turns we will go. And can Wolf get a run on Fitzwater now, then through into these final couple of corners? I wonder if Parachki trying to get a run on Gomez at the same time. He's going to try and have a go. He's in the slipstream of Gabriel Gomez. Is this going to be the lead for the Macedonian drivers? The two drivers go side by side or thereabouts. Parachki tried to break that a little bit later, but Gomez going to hold on, and it looks like Wolf's lost some time to Fitzwater, and it looks like he's now under pressure from Julius Anderson as Parachki trying everything he can to get over the Gomez. But again, we talked about this earlier on when Parachki was trying to overtake Fitzwater. I wonder if the BMW is lacking a little bit compared to the Chevys and the Hondas at the moment.
Could be that, or the McLaren might be running more wing.
Perhaps that's something to obviously bear in mind as well. As meanwhile, Parachki again trying to have a go at Gomez into the left-hander, but can't get it done. Meanwhile, you just see just behind, Volker is definitely gaining onto Lucien. So Volker could sense a double podium here for Andretti if he can get the move done on Alex-Eric Lucien in front, as Lucien is trying everything he can to try and get his first ever podium in the OC. As they now come out of the corner, it looks like Parachki's not close enough on that occasion to get a hold of Gomez, so he's not going to try and attack him into the banking there. And could he potentially try and get a run on him down into turn one? He's going to be a bit far behind to go for that. And I wonder if at this stage maybe Gomez might start to stretch it out a bit between himself and Gomez. Meanwhile, oh, that was close there between Volker and Lucien, as Volker's now on the inside of Alex-Eric Lucien. This is the fight for the final podium place as Wolf tries to look onto the inside. I think that's Fitzwater trying to fend off from Anderson as Volker gets third off of Lucien. So up into third place goes Florian Volker in the Andretti. As meanwhile, looks like Anderson is still stuck behind Adam Wolf at this stage of the race now. Then, as now they go around the section of corners as Parachki tries to get out of Gomez. And now look at Mutka, who's trying to have a go at the Viper there, not going to quite work out. So he's going to have to hold on to that one, as my headphones are now starting to die on me at this point in time. Which is not really ideal, considering there's a good race happening. So just bear with you. I'm just going to quickly change my headphones. So just take over briefly.
As the fight for the lead keeps continuing, Gomez versus Parachki, and coming into the final to bank. And here's Parachki trying for the move on the bank, and of course it's not going to work out there. Let's see if he can use the slipstream. Now he's losing time on that straight. And Anderson is overtaking Wolf. Easy move.
There you go, Julius Anderson up into...
Oh, Jatic is almost running wide.
That was a mistake there from the Czech driver there. Clearly still learning the ropes there of a World ChampCar car. But, yep, Julius Anderson up into 6th place. He's finally disposed of Adam Wolf, and now he'll try and chase after Zachary Fitzwater in front of him. As meanwhile, the top two are still trying to battle for the lead. And if they're not careful, Florian Volker could get onto these two. And maybe Volker could try and help. See, he tries to look around the outside there. Just Parachki, he's trying anything he can to get by on the Andretti at this point.
As he should.
He should indeed, as they come out of the hairpin there, making his way towards the final few turns on the racetrack, as looks like Parachki was a little bit better on the brakes there compared to Gabriel Gomez. 1.1 seconds out of the gap between Parachki and Volker meanwhile, so Volker could even sense a chance of a victory here today, here at Indianapolis, as they make their way through the banking. Looks like Parachki might try and get a run on Gomez once again, as he's trying to look to the inside of the Brazilian now then, as the GP2 and DTM champions go side by side, but again, he can't get it done. Once again, the power of that Andretti just keeping Gomez in front for the time being, and I think it's going to be a case of who's going to do better in the pit stops if these two keep fighting, and especially if Volker starts to close in on these two.
Yeah, it looks like Volker is using this fighting for all of his benefit, and there is a good chance he's going to get into the fight. And knowing him, if he smells the victory here, he will take it.
Well, Lucien is holding up a big train of cars now, because he's now got Fitzwater and co right behind him, as Volker is now right onto the back of these two now. So Volker is now in this fight for the lead of the race, as he's caught up to these two whilst they've been fighting for the lead as they come out of turn number 11 now then, and Volker could possibly sense an opportunity if Parachki is unable to get by on Gomez on this occasion. Coming out of the bankings now, they're coming towards the banking. We will go. Parachki again looking to the inside of Gomez, but can't get the move done. Can Volker get close enough to take full advantage? I don't think he can. Looks like maybe in the next lap he will, as Parachki still in the slipstream of Gomez, but let's see, Parachki looking to the inside, but Gomez looks like he's already moving to the right hand side and covers that place. So once again, Gomez holding on to the lead for the time being, as Julius Anderson comes into the pits. Now, is that a scheduled stop? Yes, Patacek's is also scheduled, and I think Anderson's is also scheduled as well. So this is the second stops underway, and they are fueled to the end of the race.
Yeah, so 2 stoppers for the drivers, and looks like the strategies are going for either the longer or shorter stints between the two stops.
Indeed, a few cars coming in on that occasion, so I do wonder when the top three are going to start to blink very soon. Of course, the Andretti's can't pit at the same time because otherwise that will lead to a double stack. So it'd be very interesting to see who's going to come in first and who's got lighter fuel compared to the pair of them. Tomaselli was in, as we saw Parachki trying to have a go at Gomez once again, and the fact that Parachki is in an Andretti sandwich at this point is probably making him a little bit uncomfortable being in the meat of that sandwich at the moment, but he's trying everything he can to get out of that sandwich as quick as possible. As now come out of turn 12 now then we will go, as now Parachki once again tries to attack Gomez into the banking there, tries to get the overlap, but again it doesn't work. But here comes Volker. Can he take full advantage of this? But again it looks like he's just a little bit too far back to challenge, as Lucien is now down into 6th position. He's been overtaken in that group, and he's been overtaken by both Fitzwater and Wolf, of course, and I wouldn't be surprised if Anderson jumps in once Lucien makes his pit stop, as once again Parachki not able to get the move done on Gabriel Gomez on that occasion. Anderson meanwhile came out in 12th place after that pit stop. Patacek came out in 13th, so those two have finished their second and final stops for the day. None of the top three still pitting on this lap, so they're going to stay out for at least another lap on this occasion, as Volker looks for any opportunity to pounce here at Indianapolis. As now Parachki again looking to the inside, but again Gomez covers that one off as they make their way through into the left-hander now, then into the hairpin we will go. The first hairpin, then into the second hairpin. All three drivers will go. Flicks the car in for that left-hander. Fitzwater is now not too far back from this battle now then, as they now come around turn 11 now then, in towards the final two corners. We will go on the racetrack through turn 12, as once again looks like Parachki's once again going to try and go for it onto the banking now then. Down the inside he goes, but again just can't get the overlap on the Brazilian, and Volker is just not able to get close enough. It just looks like both Gomez and Parachki pull away enough to just be able to build a gap in front of Volker at this stage, as Gomez is pitting at the end of this lap.
Yeah, Volker doesn't seem to have enough traction on the final corner before the banking, and he's losing time there.
Yeah, it's definitely affecting him at this point. A few more cars are coming in this lap, including Francesco La Rosa in the Ferrari, as we look at Anderson now then, who is still not able. It looks like Parachki, it seems, has got the fastest lap at the moment from what it says on there. So at the moment Parachki's currently got the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race, as once again tries to attack Gomez but isn't able to get it done. Of course Gomez is coming into the pits at the end of this lap, and I wonder, because I know this pit lane entrance can hold up these drivers, I wonder if Volker is going to take full advantage of this.
Let's see.
Maybe even Fitzwater as well, because he's not far behind this group as well, as they now come out of the corner now. And again, Volker just not having enough traction. But let's see. Parachki is going to get held up a bit. He is getting held up a tad bit. Here comes Volker, and through he goes. Volker into the temporary lead. Tactics there from Andretti. Volker takes the temporary lead of the races. Now Fitzwater once again trying to attack Parachki. These two have been battling for a long time in this race, and Fitzwater wants to get back in front if he can, as he looks to the inside of Ennis Parachki. Can he get the move done? No, he can't. Parachki breaks that a little bit later and holds on to second place, but Volker for the meantime takes the lead of the race, as Gomez and La Rosa are both in the pits.
Yeah, so Andretti seeming to use the tactics with the pit lane to help flow.
Yeah, indeed, and I wonder where Gomez is going to emerge then after this pit stop, especially compared to Anderson, because we know that pitting earlier can sometimes help you, but I think he's way out in front of Anderson anyway. And, well, he does come out in front, but not by a lot, but Gomez still rejoins in 9th place, slots behind Jared Fosbury in the Chip Ganassi racing car, as they now make their way through into the hairpins now. Then Martinez in the Meyershank racing car has just come into the pits, as now we look on board with Ennis Parachki, who's trying to get that place back off of Florian Volker, as I don't think either of them are pitting on this occasion. I think they're both going to stay out for another lap, which they do, as meanwhile Gomez not wasting any time in the traffic and trying to get by on Jared Fosbury as quick as possible. Can he get the move done? And the answer to that is, well, Fosbury leaves in the room, but Gomez not fully committed. So once again, Gomez having trouble with traffic. Parachki once again trying to attack Volker for the lead, but Volker holds on to that place for the time being, and Volker holds off from the team that he was formerly at last season, of course. Obviously moved to Andretti for this season. And now he's once again fighting his old team at this point in time. And now coming towards the turns 6 and 7 complexes. Gomez has finally got by on Jared Fosbury, so he's now up into 8th position. So Fosbury's now got to worry about Julius Anderson right behind him. And now, is anybody in that top? Is Volker? I know Paratsky's not pitting, but is Volker pitting this time? Nope, they're going to stay out a little bit longer. In fact, there might be a couple of laps before they start to make their pit stop. Neither will Fitzwater and Wolf on this occasion. So as Fosbury is actually coming into the pit, so it doesn't look like that Anderson will need to overtake Fosbury on the racetrack to try and keep up with Gabriel Gomez if he can. But meanwhile, back to the top 2 now then, through, well, the temporary top 2 I should say. As now Paratsky tries to get a run on Volker. Through into the banking we go. And now can Paratsky get the move back on Volker. He switches to the inside of the Andretti cars. They go side by side down towards the first corner. Is Paratsky going to retake the lead from Florian Volker into turn 1? The answer to that is no. Volker once again holds on to that position as Fitzwater and Wolf keep up for the time being. Looks like Anderson's going to get held up slightly by Fosbury, who is of course coming into the pits at the end of this lap, and he is going to get briefly held up, which he does, so he's had to back off a little bit, but now he can get back on the throttle as now Martinez looks to the inside of the Manor there, but can't get the move done. I think that Manor there, if I am not mistaken, is Dorian Maluski. I think he's the only Manor in the race. As Volker is coming into the pits at the end of this lap, so it was actually another lap, not another 2 laps for Volker. Paratsky is staying out, so he's looking like he's going to stay out a little bit longer at this stage. Is anybody else behind them going to pit? The likes of Fitzwater and Wolf. Fitzwater is, but Wolf isn't. So both Paratsky and Wolf opting to stay out on the racetrack, so both of them are going to get held up by Volker and Fitzwater respectively, as we're going to see Volker peel to the right, which he does, so Florian Volker comes into the pits, as does Zachary Fitzwater, so now they're both into the pits for their final stop of the race, and I wonder where the pair of them are going to emerge in relation to where Gomez and Anderson are, because Anderson and Gomez have been out, Anderson especially has been on them tyres for quite a while. Pitted a while ago, of course. As looks like Fitzwater's going to get garage advantage, of course, because that's the Penske garage and the Andretti garage in front of him. So I wonder if Fitzwater is actually going to get the jump on Volker here due to garage advantage. Let's see. As the Penske and Andretti mechanics get to work, Alex Eric Lucian, the Peugeot, is coming. Fitzwater's been held up here, as has Volker, and it has allowed Fitzwater to get the jump on Volker as a result. So Fitzwater does indeed jump Volker in the pits, but both of them got held up in the process while all that was happening.
Yeah, that was not good for either of them actually. And here's
Gomez is going to go. Where's Anderson? He's not far behind. I wonder if Anderson's going to jump the pair of them as well. And you know what? I think he is. Yes, Anderson has got the jump on both Anderson and Volker. So that hold up is not held up. And I think Patacek, who's also coming to the pits, did he also pit? Yes, he has. He's pitted. He's also jumped Volker as well. So, yeah, so not exactly ideal for Volker there. Had he not been held up, he would have still been out ahead of Patacek. But now Volker has got to clear him.
Yeah, but look how much faster Volker is than Piatic.
Yes, indeed. And meanwhile, Paratsky is coming into the pit. And is Wolf also coming in? Yes, the top 2 are both coming into the pits. So, be interested to see where these 2 emerge. I wonder if these 2 are going to get any traffic like both Fitzwater and Volker did a little bit earlier on. Let's wait and see, as they're now both into the pits. Who's got garage advantage? It's obviously going to be Wolf, because he's pyramid, and the McLaren of Paratsky is a little bit further down. So I wonder, just like with Fitzwater and Volker, I wonder if Wolf is going to get the jump on Paratsky here. Let's see, as they put on a fresh set of tyres. I wonder if Wolf is starting to possibly get a little bit concerned with his car, given that we saw his teammate Thomas Anderson retire with a gearbox issue. So anyway, and Paratsky does not get jumped. He actually had a quicker stop than Wolf did, which allowed him to stay in front of his fellow BMW team. So Gomez is going to go through into the lead once again. Could those 2 actually come out in front of Anderson here? Let's see. In fact, I think Anderson's going to be second. Yes, Anderson is going to be second, but I wonder if he's going to be under pressure. Fitzwater will be third. So Paratsky has actually been jumped by Fitzwater again in the pit, and Wolf comes out just in front of Matacek. So, Patacek, sorry, not Matacek. I've combined both his first and last name there. I do apologise. And so Wolf has also got the jump on Volker, and Volker is still not been able to find a way through on Patacek at the moment. And he's also got Alex Eric Lucian right behind, who was also pitted. So, yeah, so not exactly ideal for Florian Volker at this point in time.
Yeah, the pit stop has caused him quite a lot of work to do, as there's some fighting going on between Paratsky and Fitzwater.
Once again, those two into combat as Volker tries to put Patacek under a lot of pressure as Gomez in the lead. But look at this, Fitzwater and Paratsky are both closing in on Julius Anderson in front of them now then as they make their way through into turn 11 and now into turn 12. We will go now then, and now they'll soon approach the bank. And again, Paratsky trying to see if he can get underneath Zachary Fitzwater here, but Fitzwater not going to allow him on that occasion as they both try and close in on Julius Anderson in front. They're not close enough on this occasion, but it looks like the two Penskes might be fighting it out for second place on this. Paratsky has something to say about it. Could he use the slipstream of Anderson to try and get through on Fitzwater? No, he can't. Once again, has to hang back for the time being, and all of this will just allow Gomez to get away in front.
Yeah, and Gomez has actually increased the gap quite a lot.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, he's got more fresher tyres than what Anderson has. The gap is now up to 3.3 seconds between the pair on them on lap 33 of 51. Of course, they're now all going to go to the end of the race. They've done their 2 pit stops, all the drivers and teams. So it's now just a sprint to the finish now at this point. As meanwhile, Fitzwater again having his mirrors full of Ennis Paratsky's McLaren, as also at the same time Fitzwater trying to get by on the Penske of Anderson. Clearly no team orders at Penske as Volker once again still stuck behind the McLaren of Marat Patacek, and he's probably going to get frustrated being stuck behind the Czech rookie at this point, as now they make their way through into turn 11 now, then using a lot of curb on the inside, and now heading into the final couple of corners we will go on the racetrack as now they approach the banking. And will Paratsky try and get a run on Fitzwater? Fitzwater doesn't seem close enough to get a hold of Anderson on that occasion, or will he? We'll have to wait and see. But Paratsky trying to have a go, but again, looks like Fitzwater's got the slipstream of his teammate Anderson. He's going to go to the inside. Anderson doesn't defend. I think Fitzwater is going to get the move here on his teammate. Down the inside he goes, and it's P2 for the Australian. Fitzwater up into second place as Paratsky now has got to try and find a way through on Anderson. But we've seen so many times how much that McLaren is struggling to get by on people in a straight line.
Yeah, it's been especially Fitzwater who's been the problem for Paratsky, so let's see if Anderson's situation is similar to that. Or
we will see, of course.
Easier.
We will see. He's also got Wolf right behind him as well for company. Volker's still stuck behind Patacek at this point. He's probably getting frustrated being stuck behind that McLaren as they now make their way through into the hairpin now then. As Anderson, in fact, keeping up with his teammate Fitzwater at this point in time. So maybe using him to try and help him get away from Paratsky, we will see, as they now make their way through the corner. But now, let's see. Can Paratsky get a run on Anderson on this occasion? Through into turn 12, we will go now then. Paratsky looks to the inside. Can he get the overlap on Anderson through into the banking? Through the banking we go. And Paratsky's going to try and stick with him, but it's not going to work out. But he's going to get some slipstream on Anderson down into turn 1. Woolley looks like his traction was a little bit poor there, but Wolf was not able to take full advantage. Volker again, though, not able to get to Patacek. I wonder, we talked about it early on with Volker, could he just be potentially struggling with traction today with that Andretti?
On the last corner it looks so.
Yeah, it could be a bit of a worry there. Let's see the gap between Gomez and Fitzwater. It's 3.4 seconds. So Fitzwater has taken a little bit out of Gomez, but I think he needs to gain a little bit more if he wants to potentially be on the back of Gomez by the end of the race, as he looks like Fitzwater is now starting to get away from Anderson, who I think is trying to help Fitzwater get away and try and hold up both Paratsky and Wolf as best as he can, as the two BMW powered cars are doing their best to try and swarm the Renault Livid Penske, as now through the right and left-hander now then we will go, as using a bit of curb on the outside. Through into the right-hander we go. The gap now up to 1.2 seconds between Fitzwater and Julius Anderson. Through into turn 12 we will go, as they will now make their way through into the banking now. Then it goes Paratsky on the inside of Anderson. Has he got the overlap? No, he hasn't. Once again, not able to do it. But can Wolf take full advantage now, because he's right on the gearbox of Ennis Paratsky now. Then Wolf on the inside of the McLaren driver. He looks like he's going to get the overlap, and he looks like he's going to get the place of the Macedonian driver. Down the inside he goes, and Wolf is up into 4th position. As meanwhile, Volker tries to have a go at Patacek into the first corner. Tried to break that a little bit later, but again, Patacek doing an incredible job keeping both Volker and Lucian back at this point. Gomez was able to get it up to 3.5 seconds between himself and Fitzwater, although Fitzwater has taken it down a little bit. So I think it's just kind of stabilising really between Gomez and Fitzwater at this point.
Yeah, no, I don't think Fitzwater can challenge Gomez anymore.
Yeah, I think he's probably content with second place. It's now Wolf's turn to try and attack Anderson for third place. Trying to have a look on the inside, but can't get it done. Anderson tried to leave him some space, but so far holds on to that third position as they continue to scrap it out for that final podium place. Fitzwater through the right-hander now, then he goes as the gap is up to 2.5 seconds between himself and teammate Julius Anderson as he now makes his way towards the banking now then. On the racetrack as now Wolf will try and have a go at Anderson. Can he get the overlap on the Penske through into the banking? And, well, he tried to, but he can't get it done. And will Parachki take full advantage and try and get him back here? He's going to try and have a go, but he doesn't have the momentum because Wolf is in the slipstream of Julius Anderson here. Wolf on the inside of Anderson. Can he get the move done on Julius Anderson into the first corner, down the inside? And yes, he can. Wolf is onto the podium in the Pyramid Racing. So that would suggest, potentially, Yuri, that Parachki is running a high downforce wing.
Yeah, that's what I expected.
Of course, let's not forget the Pyramid and the McLaren are both powered by the same BMW engine. So, there is obviously something to definitely question. Has Parachki potentially gone the wrong way when it comes to setup here today? Because if it has, it's definitely cost him a chance of possibly getting a higher place here today. But he's now going to try and have a go at Anderson into turn number 8, I think this is. But again, Anderson fending off for the time being and holds on to that fourth position as they now make their way through the hairpin. Now then we will go as Fitzwater continues now to lose time to Gabriel Gomez in front as Wolf has actually got the gap down to 2.2 seconds. So I wonder if Fitzwater and Wolf will resume their battle from earlier on. Meanwhile, looks like Patacek might have had a bit of an issue going around turn 11. In fact, the Ferrari of La Rosa is now on the back. Meanwhile, unseen by the cameras, looks like Lucian has got by on Volker somewhere because it's now him trying to attack Patacek for 6th place, but he can't get it done. Volker got held up a bit, and I wonder if La Rosa will take full advantage in the Ferrari behind. But now Lucian on the inside of Patacek. Volker trying to insert his nose in as best he can into this battle as Lucian, can he get that later on the brakes? No, Patacek once again doing an incredible job holding these cars back. A lot of pressure for the Czech rookie, but he's definitely doing a good job keeping these guys back. Now Simon Mutka tries to have a go at Luke Mason there, and for Mutka, Yuri, a race to forget for him.
Yeah, he's not been on it today.
Especially when you compare it to his teammate who's stuck in battles for what is 6th place, looking to try and get 8 championship points in this race, as he's currently, just like with Volker earlier on, stuck behind the McLaren and Marat Patacek. And Patacek again doing a fantastic job holding on to that 6th position as they go through into the hairpin there then. As meanwhile, looks like the Meyershanks are once again fighting it out. Meanwhile, Parachki again trying to attack Anderson for 4th position. He's still not been able to get past the Swede through into the banking. Can he get the overlap on the Penske driver? Again, can't get it done. Out of the banking we go. Can he get the slipstream off Anderson? I don't think he can. I think also, he's like with Volker, along with having the straight line speed, it's not going to work. But meanwhile, back to the battle for 6th position as now Lucian once again looks to the inside of Patacek through into the first corner, but again just can't get the overlap on him. And Patacek, clearly the straight line speed on his McLaren working better than both Lucian and Volker at this stage.
Yeah, and Lucian and Volker are not able to brake late enough to get the McLaren out of the way.
Definitely not, and well, it's definitely going to be
out of the way.
Definitely going to frustrate them. And now look, there's another car that's now joined this fight. That is Frederick Soper, who's in the points. So he's come out of nowhere. He's now into the points, and whilst having a quiet race earlier on, has now got himself ahead of his teammate in this race, and is now to the points and in this fight for 6th position. His teammate Lorenzo Tomaselli busy fending off. I think that's Luca Farina, his fellow compatriot, in the Chip Ganassi racing car, as Wolf is now 1.9 seconds back from Fitzwater, so he's not really gaining as much as I would have anticipated, really. But anyway, Patsky now then, once again around the banking he goes, but again can't get it done on Julius Anderson, and once again loses out on the traction as Lucian tries to get an overlap but can't get it going. But Volker trying to go all the way around the outside here, but it's not going to work out, and he has to back out As a result, Lucian now trying to line up Patacek for a move for P6. I think he just pulls out the slipstream too early. Meanwhile, in the background, Soper on the inside of La Rosa for 9th place. Down the inside goes Soper, and that's P9 for the Carlin driver. It's been a great race for Frederick Soper so far.
Yeah, he's fighting cars that are supposedly out of his league.
He's doing a fantastic job and looking good for some championship points here today. Is Frederick Soper as we now look at Patacek, who's continuing to hold up that train of cars. Meanwhile, his teammate Parachki still trying to attack Anderson for 4th place. But again, Anderson doing a good job fending him off at this point in time. It's surely frustrating for the Macedonian that he just can't seem to get him in the straight line at all.
Yeah, but maybe Anderson's tires could wear down before Paratsky's, because Anderson pitted way earlier.
Perhaps indeed, as now Paratsky around the banking again, can't get it done on Anderson as they come out of the banking, and I don't think he's close enough to get him on that occasion. Lucian on the inside of Patacek once again, but can't get it done. How can Volker regain 7th place off the Peugeot driver? He's going to look to the inside, and it looks like Volker's going to regain the place as a result, as he's on the inside, and he looks like he's going to regain the place down the inside on the Peugeot Sport driver, and he didn't even need to wait for the corner. Volker back up into 7th place, and once again is possibly going to get frustrated by Patacek in front, as now Soper is right on the back of these guys.
If they are not careful, I think Soper could overtake all of them. He's looking really good at the moment.
It depends on the pace that Carlin has got at the moment. Meanwhile, Wolf continuing to gain onto Fitzwater, but as mentioned, not as much as I was anticipating, as Parachki once again still stuck behind Julius Anderson's Penske, as now coming onto the back straight now, then Volker again trying to scare Patacek off if he can, and doing a very good job holding back the 5-time top class champion at the moment is Patacek. And now through into the 2 hairpins we go around this all aboard the Marek train, as now coming around turn 11 we will go, as now they come towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Now then, can Volker get the move done? He's now looking again onto the inside towards the banking, but again just can't get the overlap. And can Lucian get him back as a result into 7th place? He's trying to have a go, but it looks like Volker's just going to keep into Patacek's slipstream to keep himself in front of Alex-Eric Lucian at this point in time. Soper not able to gain any places on that occasion, so he's just going to hold back in 9th place for now, and La Rosa behind just looking on to see if he can take full advantage of this at all at this stage. We now look at Fitzwater, and you can see Wolf is definitely gaining. The fact that Fitzwater is coming up to some traffic, that could benefit Wolf in the closing stages.
Fitzwater's halved the gap to Gomez, by the way.
That might be because Gomez has had to deal with this traffic, and it's allowed Fitzwater to gain, but now Fitzwater has now come up to this. It's now his turn to deal with this traffic, and I wonder how long it will take for him, because as well, he's also got to bear in mind that he's also got Adam Wolf breathing down his neck. He's now under a second behind him. 9/10 is the gap between them, as once again, looks like that is Mutka trying to get by. Fitzwater gets by him, and it looks like he's also going to lap the Viper there. Now, let's see if he's got some paces. Oh, engine blown in front. That's for Cratchitsville. That's for Yuri Cratchitsville. I thought for a moment that Gomez had an engine failure there, but it's not. It's Yuri Cratchitsville in the Viper, and that is an engine failure, a fiery one to be exact, although the colour doesn't represent the fire too much. But that's race over for Cratchitsville in his first ever GP4 OC race, and it's an engine failure that's taken care of him in the Viper.
Yeah, that thing's just blown off.
As a result, we are now down to
Fire!
18 runners. Yep, I think that might start appearing now in the chat as a result, as that is, of course, race over for Yuri Cratchitsville, and we are down to 18 runners, and it was an engine failure, not oil leak or a water leak in some instances. Volker's still stuck behind Marat Patacek in that fight. 6th position, as Parachki is still stuck behind Julius Anderson, and now it's Wolf's turn to negotiate that traffic that Fitzwater was having to get by. Wolf now finally laps Luke Mason there, and can Simon Mutka take full advantage? I'm not sure. But anyway, now Paratsky once again trying to put Julius Anderson under a lot of pressure here. I think the yellow flags down at turn 1 are going to be there for quite a while because the barrier is quite far away from where Cratchitfield parked his car up. So, as I say that, they actually got it quickly moving. So the yellows have now been lifted as Volker tries to have a go at Patacek as around the outside goes no, that's Lucien who's gone around the outside. That's an incredible move from the Peugeot there to get 7th, but can he get the momentum and get Patacek for 6th place? The Frenchman, once again, though, can't get the move done. Back on the inside, Volker's trying to have a go on the inside, but Lucien says no to that. I thought for a minute we were going to have a disaster there, but thankfully he didn't. And look at that, Fitzwater is still getting onto Gomez, so we might actually have a battle for the lead after all.
It's getting really tense now.
Wolf has also got by as well, so I wonder if he could get himself involved in this fight between Gomez and Fitzwater for the lead of this race. Fitzwater trying to look at his first ever World Champ Car win. Same for Adam Wolf if he can get up to the back of them as well, whereas Gomez is looking to try and kick off the start of the season the way he wanted it to. Meanwhile, Lucien once again trying to attack Patacek for 6th, but can't get it done as both Sopa and La Rosa again continue to watch on to see if anything happens. I wonder if Gomez is now starting to stretch it, in fact, because let's have a look then. Last time around it was 9 attempts, and well, the camera didn't allow us. That was very rude indeed. But now Paratsky on the inside of Anderson, but again can't get it done, and once again has to hang back. And this is obviously getting more frustrating for the Macedonian drivers. Lucien tries to look at Patacek, 6th place, but can't get it done. The gaps aren't showing, they're just showing us the pit stops for some reason on the graphic underneath, as Lucien again in the slipstream of Patacek trying to look onto the inside. Volker once again looking to the outside and can't get it done, and can't get it done now. Then he holds on to 7th place for the time being. And what was the gap? Because for some reason the auto camera, whilst we were trying to look at the gap, decided to tell us to go away, and once again telling us to go away on this occasion. But I would imagine, looking at that, I think Fitzwater is a little bit more closer to Gomez on this occasion. They make their way out of the hairpin now. Then the gap is now 0.5 of a second, so half a second the gap now between Gomez and Fitzwater. And Fitzwater is definitely getting close, and maybe the victory for Gomez may not be so secure after all, Yuri.
Yeah, it's not secure anymore. I think he's used his tires more than Fitzwater.
Indeed, as it's down to 0.4 of a second. Gomez already defending the inside, so he's starting to feel the pressure now from the Australian driver, as meanwhile Mutka once again trying to attack the Meyershank there. Lucien again can't get the move done on the McLaren there, and now Volker looking to pounce again. Lucien though still in the slipstream of Marat Patacek's McLaren, and he's going to try and pull to the inside as Patacek defending the inside once again, and he's going to hold on to that place. Volker tried to hang it around the outside, but once again can't get the move done. Now look at this for the fight for the lead. Wolf is also gaining as well, so I wonder that depending on how long these two scrap, I wonder how long it will take for him to get onto the gearbox. Fitzwater all over the back, and Fitzwater sensing a chance to try and get his first victory in, I think, if I'm going to guess, I think in about 5 seasons, I think. The last time I think he won an OC race, I don't think he won a BTCC race. I think the last time he won an OC race was back in 2017 in DTM. So,
It's a
looks
long
like
time
Fitzwater
ago.
now. Very, very long time ago indeed, but now Fitzwater on the inside of Gomez. Can he get the lead of the Andretti man around the banking? Gomez hangs it around the outside and holds onto that place. Can Fitzwater get the slipstream on Gomez down towards the first corners? We've got 5 laps to go here in Indianapolis now then. Fitzwater not close enough on that occasion. How far back is Wolf meanwhile in this fight for the lead? Not too far back. He's not too far away from that fight for the lead. Paratsky still stuck behind Anderson at this point. Lucien meanwhile trying to attack Patacek for 6th place now then. Lucien on the inside once again. Can't get the move done. Sticks in the slipstream now then of the McLaren as it comes down the pit straight. Lucien on the inside. Can he get the move done this time by on the McLaren, who's been a headache for him for the best part of this whole stint? And again, Patacek holding on to 6th place for dear life at this point. And now look, Wolf is now right with him. It's now a three-way scrap for the lead.
It's going to be very interesting last few laps.
Indeed, as now Coming around the hairpins now, then we go. Fitzwater really trying his best to get victory here today at Indianapolis, but also bearing in mind that Wolf is also breathing down his neck in the pyramid. Now coming around the right hand, there we go, as they make their way through into turn 12 and then into the banking. We will now go. Can Fitzwater? He's not going to go for it on the banking, but can he get him down into turn 1? He's right behind him. He's trying to look to the outside, trying to get a run down towards the first corner. Fitzwater on the inside of Gomez. Is this going to be the lead for the Australian? 4 laps to go. We go. Fitzwater on the inside. He's got the overlap on Gomez. Surely this is the lead. And yes, it is. Zachary Fitzwater takes the lead here at Indianapolis. And could it be the first win in 5 seasons for the Australian?
It's very close now. It's very close for him.
Indeed, but it's not done yet, because if Wolf gets by on Gomez, he might have to deal with Wolf as well. It's in the closing stages. Finally, Parachki has passed Anderson. Parachki up into 4th place. He's finally disposed of the Penske and he's finally gone up into 4th position. Meanwhile, his teammate Patracek is still holding on to that 6th place, but Parachki having trouble with traffic, and Anderson could take full advantage of here as Parachki having trouble trying to lap the Peugeot here. Oh, I think that's Simon Mutka who's trying to get by. Of course it is, because Lucian is fighting with Volker and Patracek just behind, and Anderson being held up by the traffic there. But look at this, Gomez and Wolf are still with Fitzwater, so Gomez is not giving up
Fitzwater
just
hasn't won a race since 2016.
Thought it was 2017 the last time it was.
2016 Montreal.
Oh, it was 2016. Well, it was DTM then. I've got 2016 and 17 mixed up. So it's actually 6 seasons since he's last won. But Gomez could spoil the party, because he's trying to get the lead back off the Australian. 3 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Can Gomez retake the lead off of Fitzwater into the first corner? He's trying to break that lead a bit later, but Fitzwater holds on to the lead for the time being. Wolf looking for any opportunity to pass. This is getting tense in the final 3 laps.
Very much so. Now it's just they are using everything they can, and still Fitzwater isn't able to pull the gap, so
yes indeed, as now they come around the right hander now, then can Gomez get the move on Fitzwater now then to make the way towards the left-hander now then, as Gomez looks to the outside. Fitzwater doing everything he can to try and get his first win in so many seasons, as once again Patracek is doing a good job holding those two off. Looks like both Soper and La Rosa have now fell back from that battle for 6th, so it's only Patracek, Lucian and Volker who are fighting for that 6th place. But back to the battle for the lead now then. Gomez once again trying to attack the Honda powered Penske for the lead of the race and spoil Fitzwater's party here at Indianapolis. Gomez on the inside going into the banking. Can he retake the lead from the Australian? And Fitzwater's just going to hold on for the time being, but here comes Adam Wolf. Adam Wolf with a lot of traction coming out of that hairpin there. Good run for him. 2 laps to go in this race. Wolf on the inside of Gomez. This is going to be P2 for the pyramid down the inside. And yes, it is. Adam Wolf up into 2nd place. Now can he try and get the lead from Zachary Fitzwater in this race? 2 laps to go here at Indianapolis.
2 laps and the race wing is still could be anybody's game from these 3. I think Wolf seems to be the fastest out of the 3, and now he's got Gomez overtaken. But Fitzwater has been defending really well all of the race, so let's see.
Now Wolf on the inside of Fitzwater, but again Fitzwater covers the inside off. He's really having to defend from Adam Wolf here, as he's only got 1 and a bit laps to go here at the GP lap of Indianapolis. This has been an insane opening race of the season, a battle for the lead in the first race of the season. If this is going to be like this for the entirety of the season, then I am definitely on board for hopefully another cracking season World ChampCar. Gomez is now starting to fall back, so I think it is now just between Fitzwater and Wolf for the win. Wolf on the inside of Fitzwater. Can he get the move done? No, he can't. But maybe can he get him down into the pit straight? He's still sticking with the Australian slipstream as we start the final lap here at Indianapolis. Wolf on the inside of Fitzwater. Can he get the lead from the Australian into the first corner? Wolf on the inside. Can he get the lead? No, he can't. Fitzwater holds on to the lead. He hangs it around the outside, and now Gomez is back in this fight. Through turn 3 we go. Wolf doing everything he can to get a hold of Fitzwater and spoil his plans of winning for the first time in 6 seasons. Through into turn number 5 we go now then for the final time today, and these three have given us a very good show in these final few laps of the race now then. Wolf trying to do anything he can. Of course, his teammate Thomas Anderson, that is led early on, and he's trying to get Pyramid the win that they may have potentially lost with Anderson. Wolf again trying to attack but can't get it done. Gomez tried to take advantage, but he's not going to work out. And, well, there's only really one more corner left, really, that Wolf can try and overtake, and that's at the banking. But that's providing he can get the overlap before going into the banking. Let's go, then. Through turn 11 we go. 2 corners to go here in Indianapolis. Is it going to be Wolf? Is it going to be Fitzwater? Through turn 12 we go. Wolf's going to run on Fitzwater. He's on the inside. Can he get the overlap on Fitzwater through into the banking? Side by side, no he can't. Fitzwater's got done enough, and Zachary Fitzwater takes the first win of 2022. His first win in 6 seasons. Zachary Fitzwater wins at the GP layout of Indianapolis. My oh my, I'm out of breath. What an amazing first race of the season.
Yeah, what a race. This the ChampCar series is delivering again.
Unbelievable final lap of the race, and well, that was unbelievable. Zachary Fitzwater, for the first time in 6 seasons, is a winner in GP4. See his first ever World ChampCar win. Wolf in second, Gomez in third, Parachki in fourth, Julius Anderson in 5th position. Patacek just held on to Symphony N from Lucian, I think, in 7th place, with Volker in 8th position, and then La Rosa in 9th. He passed Soper unseen by the camera, so he got 9th. Soper takes the final point in 10th. But your winner here at Indianapolis is Zachary Fitzwater. His first race for Penske and his first win in 6 seasons. Well done to Zachary Fitzwater here. So here are the final results. Zachary Fitzwater wins with Adam Wolf in second, Gabriel Gomez in third with Enis Parachki fourth, Julius Anderson in fifth with Marat Patacek getting his first ever points in sixth, with Alex Eric Lucien in seventh, Florian Volker eighth, Francesca La Rosa in ninth, with Frederick Soper completing the top 10, with Lorenzo Tomaselli 11th, Rosetta Martinez in 12th, Luca Farina 13th, with Jared Fosby 14th, Yuri Gabriel 15th, Simon Mutka in 16th, with Lou Mason 17th, Dorian Maluski, the last of the finishers, in 18th, with the 4 retirements being Yuri Kratichville, Thomas Anderson, Jalum Stopi, and Dalebos Daniel. And the fastest lap of the race goes to Enis Parachki. So along with the 12 points he will get for 4th position, he'll also get the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. Oh my, Yuri, what an insane first race of the season. World ChampCar once again delivering.
Yeah, exactly. There's reasons why we made the idea for this series, and so far we have a season and 1 race. It's been very entertaining all the way through, and looks like this season might be even better than last season.
Indeed so. If we're going to have battles like that for the remaining 9 races, I'm definitely on board for this season. Well, that has been it then from the first race of the season here at the GP layout of Indianapolis. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, then I don't know what else will entertain you, really, because that was an insane final few laps of the race. But that has been it then, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. The next World ChampCar race will be in 2 weeks' time at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, and it should hopefully be a good race there as well. Of course, we're not done with live streams for tonight, because coming up at 7 p.m. BST, so in just over an hour and 50 minutes, Formula 2 will have its first pre-season test over at the Autodromo Juan y Oscar Galvez in Buenos Aires, so do look forward to that. Of course, we have top class action as well this week from the Chinese Grand Prix, and of course, Formula 2, their second pre-season test will be at Baku tomorrow, so do look forward to that. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, next Monday will be the second Formula E race of the season, which will be at the Mexico City E-Prix at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, so look forward to that. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it, so thank you all for watching. I'm JW97, he's been Yuri Marta, and we will see you next time. Take care, and I need a drink after that.